Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good morning. It is 5:10. I'm Manda Factor. A multi-agency team is investigating a shooting involving at least one Snohomish County deputy. KIRO 7 reports this morning it happened on East Shore Drive in Martha Lake, just east of Linwood. It's not clear what led to the shooting or whether anyone was killed. Investigators have not said if any deputies were hurt. Mukilteo police are leading the investigation to avoid a conflict of interest. Advances in DNA evidence have now confirmed a new victim for serial killer Ted Bundy more than 50 years after her death. Lori Ann Amy was last seen leaving a convenience store in Utah in 1974. Here's KIRO 7 TV's Jake Chapman.
This case
is officially closed.
You look back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, we didn't have the DNA evidence that we could tie people together. Jim Fuda with Crime Stoppers says those advancements aren't only helping find more victims of Bundy, but other notorious serial killers from Washington. That's how they got Gary Ridgway, is that Dave Reichert had the wherewithal to swab his mouth at one point when DNA was first being talked about. While families get the closure they deserve, they argue the pain never goes away.
A disturbing discovery on Guaymas Island after the Skagit County Sheriff's Office says a dozen canines were found washed ashore. KIRO 7 reporter Jack Bilyeu says the County Animal Control Unit is actively investigating.
It's a creepy mystery out here. Creepy mystery.
Chief Olivia Cole of the Guaymas Island Fire Department says after multiple canine carcasses were reported on the beaches there, her team was called in to pick them up. What she found shocked her.
Cole says the animals were located in several areas along the tide line. Investigators do not believe there's any threat to the public. They're asking anyone with information to call the Skagit County Sheriff's Office. Governor Bob Ferguson vetoed $500,000 meant to fight organized retail crime in Washington. The News Tribune reports he cut the money from the state's supplemental budget yesterday, despite growing pressure to keep it. State Representative Mari Levitt, a University-placed Democrat, warned the governor's office the night before it would be a major mistake. Levitt has led the legislature's push against organized retail theft. She wrote on X that the veto suggests retail crime doesn't matter in Washington. A Forbes survey from 2024 ranked Washington the #1 state most impacted by retail crime. While those gas prices continue a record-breaking climb, with fuel costs continuing to rank among the highest in the country, according to AAA. Oil and gas analyst Ray Trevino tells CBS News prices will remain high unless the Strait of Hormuz reopens. And if it doesn't,
we would definitely see gasoline, diesel prices, and the barrel of oil to continue to be in this price range from $90 to $100. And we will continue to see that for a couple of more weeks.
As of this morning, the average price around the state is $5.36. Well, Artemis 2, as you know, is on a historic mission to the moon. Hundreds of people joined the Museum of Flight in Seattle to watch the launch yesterday.
I was 4 years old when the last crew was out, so for me it's just a feeling of joy and utter delight and pride in this huge scientific community.
41 Washington aerospace companies supply parts to the Artemis program. Washington U.S. Senator Maria Cantwell visited L3 Harris in Redmond, where rocket thrusters are built.
That's why the mayor of Redmond calls it the Space District. But we are producing various products that make this mission successful.
Other companies involved in the mission include Boeing and Mukilteo's Karman Space and Defense. It's 5:13. Time for a check on traffic on this early Thursday morning. Boy, that rain, the convergence zone is really coming down.
Yeah, it is. It was really heavy in my neighborhood up in South Snohomish County. And then around Shoreline, around 175th, it disappeared. Right. And the roads were dry. So just your commutes could be varied depending on where you're going. But it is super wet up north. Definitely much better than we were at this point yesterday. All green on the map so far. Looking at Federal Way to Seattle of about 35 minutes. 35 minutes as well from Puyallup to Renton. And nothing between Olympia and to Tacoma. So that's pretty good. Lake bridges are still quiet coming down from the north end. No problems at all from Arlington all the way down into Seattle or to Bellevue. Just a little hiccup right around the Boeing Freeway as people are kind of getting off there on southbound 5, but nothing really any significance to write home. 16 and 18 are also in very good shape. KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Again, that heavy rain is in the north end this morning. For the rest of us, just some lingering showers, but mainly it's going to be dry. Sunshine by afternoon and 53. Tomorrow looks great. Maybe a few sprinkles early on, but then sunshine later in the day and 57. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, still looking very nice. Monday's going to be the warmest day of the next 4 or 5 at 67 for the high Monday. Right now in Seattle, it's cloudy and 43 degrees. And coming up, G. Scott stops by. Washington is the 6th most expensive state to live in, according to a new study. He has some thoughts. Next, here on Seattle's Morning News.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News. KIRO Newsradio, the first place you turn for the news you trust.
ICE agents have now been deployed to 14 airports across the country.
Traffic.
Did they open lanes?
They just reopened all lanes of northbound I-5.
Engaging conversation.
If he ends this right now, it only emboldens Iran. That's a big, big mistake.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
A one-hander! JSN!
Always here, always with you. KIRO Newsradio, 97.3 FM.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Rick was experiencing some pain in his knee.
Once I retired and really just golfed constantly, I think it kind of exacerbated.
It was getting to be too much for him.
It got to the point where I just almost couldn't sleep. I wanted to try anything to avoid surgery.
So instead, he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I talked to him and he said, well, Rick, it's a new knee or we do the stem cell.
Since the procedure, Rick is back doing what he loves to do.
Here I am, golfing and enjoying it.
And now it's not just his knee. Rick has had stem cell treatment for both of his shoulders, his hip, and...
He did my thumbs.
So whether it's a hip like I had or a shoulder, knee, and thumb like Rick, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. He's the most experienced in the Northwest with over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. Whoa!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
Seattle's morning news. Hear it live, stream it online, watch the show, or catch the podcast anytime on mynorthwest.com.
Here he is, joining us now from the G and Ursula Show, 9 to noon every weekday on KIRO News Radio and, of course, the Reset Podcast.
Yeah, good morning, y'all. How y'all doing?
Terrific.
Yeah?
We want to talk to you about this.
It's shocker, right? There's a new study that says the state of Washington is now one of the most expensive states in the country. You got shocked?
If I'm shocked, it's because it's not higher.
Right. Well, top 5, top 6, depending on how you measure it. And grocery stores, we all know, prices are up. Gas prices, well, that's not just here. That's around the country. But housing. And that's something here in this state absolutely crushing people. We're talking about housing. Utilities are up over 60% in the last decade. Transportation over 50%, and groceries over 50% in the last decade. So here's why. Duh, because everything has gone up at the same time while wages have not caught up. Simple. Also in this state right here, we have supply issues as far as housing shortages. We don't build as much as we did here ever since the recession of 2008. It hasn't caught up at all since then. But yeah, I didn't come on here with any good news, but just only want some no stuff news other than that the state of Washington is top 5, top 6. And so we will be, I know people will say it'll be because of the millionaire's tax, but we will here pretty soon. We'll see even more people leave the state of Washington.
Can we just talk about how expensive it is to be broke around here? Like how much more it costs for credit cards, for transportation, everything it seems is weighed against you if you are somebody with a lower income. And that keeps people down even further, especially in a high income area.
Yeah, can I tell you why?
Why?
Because there's a premium. You actually make money off of people that's broke. That's why. We are consistently, everything that we do is around being broke. So for an example, let's just say that you are not broke and you have money. Well, if you're able to spend and use your credit card, you're able to get points. So you can get points on flights. You can get points on hotels. As a matter of fact, you can, the more money you have, you can get, oh, my goodness, you have good credit. Oh, come on in. We got a good deal on your interest rate, right? You get lower there. You have good credit, lower interest rate. You have good credit, you have lower insurance premiums, even though insurance premiums are kind of off the hook right now. You got that. So what you are saying, Charlie, yes, it is actually really bad when you are in and live in a low-income household. It's actually worse for you because there is nobody that's going to fight for you. Like Rob McKenna is not going to go and fight for the people that pay a higher proportion of their income towards taxes in this state. You see what I'm saying? So that's why things are really tough if you are not making enough money. And the federal minimum wage, how about that? That thing ain't changed since 2009, Charlie, Amanda. 2009, $7.25.
Look what I'm holding. Look what I'm holding. It's a magic wand. I'm bestowing it upon you, G. You have been given this magic wand.
It's actually a number 2 pencil.
Okay.
But okay.
Hey, it's radio. This magic wand. What's the first thing?
Not anymore.
They can see right through your lies, Charlie.
I've been found out. But if I give you a magic number 2 pencil, what's the first thing you do?
The first thing I do? Stop allowing the 1% in this country to continue to make all of the money. The top 1% in this country has more money than the bottom 90%. I would stop that first. That would be the first thing I would do. Simple.
How does that, I'm sure you haven't, I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay, that's fine.
But, like, how does that manifest itself? How does that work?
Right. Not allow a CEO to make 1,700% more than one of their workers. There's nothing any other human being can do more than 1,700%. Can they do 200% more? Can they do 500% more? 1,700% more? No. So anyway, you put me on the spot, magic wand. You asked me, I would change the stuff that they do with the 1%. You know what Tupac said, right?
What did he say?
What did Tupac say?
What did Tupac say?
They got money for wars but can't feed the poor.
Well, aren't you a breath of fresh air this morning, G? Sheesh.
Have a good one, guys.
Happy April. You may be excused.
Okay.
G. Scott, listen to G and Ursula 9 to noon here on KIRO News Radio. We're seeing some rain in the north end, convergent zone stuff, but the rest of us, it's dry for the most part. 53 our high today with just lingering showers for the rest of us. Tomorrow, a few sprinkles a possibility, but some sunshine by afternoon and 57. Then Saturday through Monday, it looks gorgeous. Lots of sunshine. 67 on Monday. Right now, it's cloudy and 43 in Seattle. And coming up, KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey with a Tech Talk this morning, a deeper look at the landmark lawsuit filed this year against social media sites. You're listening to KIRO News Radio.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Hey, it's Doctors King and Kopstein from K2 Vision. If you're at the stage where you need readers, whether you've had LASIK or not, it may be time to consider K2 Vision RLE. I tell my King LASIK patients, laser vision correction won't solve the eventual need for reading glasses due to an aging, dysfunctional lens.
But K2 Vision RLE will. It's not a question of if your lens becomes dysfunctional, it's when. At that point, you'll need reading glasses and could benefit from refractive lens exchange. K2 Vision RLE is a quick, painless procedure that restores distance and near vision permanently. In other words, no glasses, no contacts, and no readers.
And no cataracts.
Exactly. After K2 Vision RLE, you will never develop a cataract.
K2 Vision doctors have performed over 150,000 procedures and followed the outcomes. They have the experience to know when it's your right time for RLE. Schedule your free Zoom consult today at k2visionrle.com. K2 Vision RLE. No readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now, or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
The G and Ursula Show.
There's two types of people. One's that use a washcloth. The other are bare hand bandits.
Hate to break it to you, but
Ursula, you a bare hand bandit?
Weekdays 9 to noon. Watch live on YouTube.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Perungo and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Grainger offers the professional grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger.
Many financial plans include some level of tax awareness. When retirement begins, considering taxes isn't enough. One overlooked tax decision can quietly cost families thousands over time. At Madrona Financial and CPAs, your plan isn't built around products. It's built around coordination. Licensed CPAs and experienced advisors working together, aligning investments, retirement income, and intergenerational planning using tax-efficient strategies. Padrona Financial and CPAs. Planning built on credentials. Padrona Financial Services is an SEC-registered investment advisor.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning. It is 5:30. A man has died in a confrontation with Snohomish County Sheriff's deputies. We get the latest from KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery.
Investigators say this started as a disturbance at a home near Martha Lake Park in Linwood Wednesday evening. Reports said a man had a gun, but it's not exactly clear what led deputies to pull out their weapons. The man died at the scene, according to reports from law enforcement. Nobody else was injured. A multi-agency investigation is taking place. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
2 Washington sheriffs are pushing back against a new law targeting law enforcement leaders. Governor Bob Ferguson signed the bill yesterday. It requires sheriffs and police chiefs to be certified, pass a background check, and have a clean criminal history. The News Tribune reports Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank and Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders both called it government overreach. Ferguson says sheriffs should be held to the same standards as their own deputies. The top budget writer for House Democrats in Olympia is calling it quits. Spokane State Representative Tim Ormsby says he will not seek re-election. Ormsby shared the news yesterday just after the governor signed the supplemental budget he helped write. He's represented the 3rd legislative district since 2003. Farmers across western Washington say more and more workers are being detained and sent to an ICE facility in Tacoma, even if they have proper documentation. Dillian Honkoop with the Save Family Farm says this year's cherry crops are also being threatened, no matter how people feel about immigration enforcement.
It is impacting the farming community, and it can certainly have a much bigger impact if this kind of enforcement activity is ill-timed on top of busy seasons already in farming.
Honkoop says last year, rumors of ICE raids shut down packing houses and processing facilities, causing significant damage to cherry crops. A UW report released 2 weeks ago says ICE raids started rising late last year. Federal drug enforcement agents are bracing for a surge in demand for fentanyl and other drugs this summer. KIRO 7's Madeline Audley spoke with Seattle Special Agent in Charge Robert Saccone about the issue.
Agents' work will ramp up this summer as hundreds of thousands of people flock to Seattle for the World Cup. Saccone couldn't share specifics of enforcement operations, but assured they were happening in the background.
Our agents are working 24 hours, 7 days a week. They look like normal people. They're normal, regular clothes and regular cars. And so most of the time, the public won't even see a DEA agent. And that's our purpose.
Saccone says they're working aggressively to disrupt the supply chain that fuels production of fentanyl by cartels in Mexico. Those drugs eventually making their way to the streets of Seattle. 2 people in King County have tested positive for measles. Public Health Seattle and King County confirmed the cases yesterday. The 2 adults are related. They were likely exposed while traveling overseas. Before they were diagnosed, they visited 2 restaurants in Kirkland and healthcare facilities in Bellevue and Seattle while still contagious. Both were hospitalized but have been released now. These are the first measles cases among King County residents this year. Washington State has now counted 31 infections in 2026. And one of Seattle's biggest names in food is starting fresh. Restaurateur Ethan Stoll tells the Puget Sound Business Journal he's launching a new venture after leaving the company that bears his name last year. He's opening 2 restaurants this summer. Cut Club is a steakhouse going into downtown Seattle's Hotel Max, and Lime Social is a Mexican restaurant headed to the Village at Totem Lake in Kirkland. Stoll is still a shareholder in Ethan Stoll Restaurants, but his new brand will take back his name and the old company will rebrand. 5:33, that's time for a check on traffic, and for that we turn it over to Chris Sullivan.
And it's a pretty good day to start so far now, Amanda. We do have some rain up north, kind of in that convergence zone, so South Snohomish County. It ends by the time you're down into Shoreline. Overall, it's a really good drive. There is one crash to tell you about. It's on westbound 410 around Traffic Ave as you're trying to make your way through Sumner, trying to get over to 167. Can't quite see it from my cams, but there's definitely a heavy backup there. Once you get over to the Valley Freeway, you're running 38 minutes to get you up into the Renton area, and then Renton to Bellevue, no problems for you guys, only 15 minutes. Olympia to Tacoma is about a half an hour, and then Federal Way to Seattle has no problems, only 35 minutes for you. Lake bridges are still in very good shape, coming down from the north end, a little westbound slowing across the trestle, primarily right at the I-5 corridor there, right as you get over the Snohomish River. After that, you get over to I-5, it's going to be great. 405, no problems there. And we've got about a 35 to 40 minute trip from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue. you. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Our forecast, we're going to see a mix of showers and sunshine for today. The exception is the convergence zone where the rain is really coming down. Also raining heavily on the coast this morning. 53 the high for today. Might see a few sprinkles for tomorrow on your Friday. Otherwise, sunshine by afternoon. 57. Saturday through Monday looks terrific. By Monday, we'll be up around 67. Right now, it is 43 degrees in Seattle.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News. Seattle's morning news. Always live, always connected. Stream, watch, subscribe, and share at mynorthwest.com.
It's 5:35. In today's Tech Talk, Meta has been found liable in multiple landmark lawsuits related to child safety and social media addiction, including a $375 million penalty in New Mexico, a $3 million award in Los Angeles. In August, KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey spoke with an attorney featured in a documentary that exposes the potential dangers with social media called Can't Look Away. Now, Matt Bergman, who's from right here in Seattle, may have just changed the future of social media.
For the first time ever, two social media companies, Meta and YouTube, have been found guilty of creating algorithms to make kids addicted to their product.
It is truly a historic moment.
For longtime tech reporter Jacob Ward on Meet the Press, not only is this big tech's big tobacco moment,
I really think that this is on a par with figuring out that cigarettes cause cancer. This is a huge societal shift that we're seeing.
Ward thinks it will end social media as we know it.
And it is definitely the end of childhood as we have come to accept it.
Tell me exactly what happened.
I'm trying to give him CPR. I need to give him CPR.
In August, we told you about a documentary called Can't Look Away.
I feel like TikTok just put the gun in his hand and told him pull the trigger.
And we talked with Seattle-based attorney Matt Bergman with the Social Media Victims Law Center.
Anyone who has kids experiences the consequences of social media addiction, and some of the parents experience very horrific consequences.
Bergman represented the victim, known by her initials KGM, in the Meta YouTube lawsuit. She started using YouTube at age 6. By the time she turned 11, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. She suffered anxiety, body dysmorphia, and depression. And now, after a 6-week trial, a jury found the tech companies negligent in the design of their apps, which led to KGM's mental health issues. Months ago, Bergman shared stories with us about other families, one who lost their son to suicide, and a mother in Missouri who says her daughter Sarah was so addicted to social media when she confiscated Sarah's phone.
She took her life and wrote in a suicide note, "You shouldn't have taken my phone away from me, Mother."
According to Pew Research, 95% of teens use social media, and a third say they are on it constantly. Several platforms, including Meta, told me in August they have robust tools and safeguards for teens and parents to regulate their time on social media. Ward says while the magnitude of the lawsuit cannot be ignored, the social media war is far from over.
Enormous First Amendment issues that are going to come up with this. And you know that Meta and YouTube are going to fight tooth and nail because this is an existential threat to the way they do business.
Bergman says more lawsuits are in the works to hold tech companies accountable.
If they just turn off the algorithms and show kids what they want to see, not what they can't look away from, the mental health crisis that we would be seeing in our young people would not exist, and our kids would be healthier and safer, and we'd be on a much better trajectory.
It's now 5:38. Major League Baseball is bringing back a classic show, as we hear from CBS News correspondent Michael Wallace.
Before streaming and the internet and even ESPN, there was This Week in Baseball, a weekly highlight show hosted by the legendary Mel Allen.
Time now to open the notebook for This Week in Baseball's Twib Notes. From
The half-hour show debuted in 1977, giving many baseball fans their only peek at highlights and bloopers from teams in other markets. The league is reviving the show on its X account with 5 to 10-minute episodes. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
It's 5:39. Reaction is coming in to the president's speech last night. National headlines coming up next here on KIRO News Radio.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Owie, wowie.
What's with the
water heater's worn out?
Way less hot water?
Takes a lot longer, too.
Sounds like a goner.
Worst of all,
what?
Wasn't planning on it.
We can help.
Apollo Plumbing.
Ready right now to get you
in hot water.
Same day.
Not this day. My budget.
How about with easy payments?
How much easy?
Around $50 a month with approved credit.
A new water heater?
50 gallons of 100% hot water delight.
For about $50 a month.
51, 52 to be precise.
And you can do it
today if that's what you need.
Is it ever?
Apollo installs new ones with code upgrades.
Can't beat that.
Actually, I can.
What?
Your same-day water heater replacement includes Wrenchy's worry-free warranty.
Which means?
Apollo Plumbing covers your new water heater for life.
You mean should it ever wear out?
Apollo Plumbing replaces it free.
And if it needs service?
Service is included for our A-list members.
Wow!
Your new water heater is ready
right now
at apolloplumbing.com.
Join in on the conversation by sending a text to 888-973-5476. That's 888-973-KIRO.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You need a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. Switch today. Get started with a great offer as low as $60 a month. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Offer ends 6/1/26. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet and security edge. 1-year agreement, eco-bill, and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
This week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to my friend Brock Heward. Brock, why did you call First Mark?
Brandy, it is so good to talk to you. It's been too long, and we made that call. And the only bummer is we waited too long. I know you hear from people that you talk to as well as I do to take the First Mark Insurance Challenge. I just wish we would have done it earlier. You know, Brandy, the word that comes to my mind is a word I use on my sports show a lot, and that is connective tissue. It's important in team building. It's important to players in a locker room to be connected to others. And when it comes to insurance, it's so complicated. It's stressful, and you just don't even want to deal with it. And that's where the connective tissue of having a pro, having a broker, having a partner, and most of all, having a teammate like First Mark Insurance was the best connective tissue we could find.
Brock did it. My family did it. You got to do it. It's free. Take the First Mark Challenge. See how much they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Go to firstmarkinsurance.com.
CBS News Brief. During a primetime address, President Trump said he expects the war with Iran to end within several weeks.
We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders.
He also expressed disappointment NATO allies didn't join the fight. A historic mission underway.
Booster ignition and liftoff.
Artemis 2 astronauts are taking in spectacular views of Earth on their way to loop the moon. CBS's Mark Strassman.
A very significant test flight for NASA if they hope to land on the moon with Artemis 4, which is now scheduled for sometime early in 2028.
The death of a nearly blind refugee dropped at a donut shop by Border Patrol in Buffalo, New York, ruled a homicide. Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz.
This should not have happened. It did. And I truthfully wish he was here today, but he's not.
ME ruled hypothermia was a contributing factor in his death. CBS News Brief. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
Our forecast, a mix of showers and sun for today. Just light lingering showers after that heavy rain yesterday. We are seeing heavy rain, though, in the north end in the convergence zone this morning. 53 the high for today, and then improving weather as we get toward the weekend. Few sprinkles a possibility tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll see partly cloudy skies and 57. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, lots of sunshine, warming up to 67 by Monday. Right now it's cloudy and 43 in Seattle. And coming up, former State Attorney General Rob McKenna on his legal challenge of the new state income tax. That's on the way here on Seattle's Morning News.
Deep to right field. Going. Goodbye, baseball.
At T-Mobile Park, you've always got the best seat in the house. But for a view that's a real home run, check out right field. Make that the dump yard. Sure, it's a great spot to see our fearless outfielders fly, dive, and slide.
Wow! Victor Robles makes the catch!
But you might get to flash some leather too, because the forecast in the dump yard always calls for rain. Raining big dumper home runs, that is.
Number 60, the magical tour of Cal Raleigh just continues.
Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
Mark your calendars, Mariners fans. This season is jam-packed with epic events. Be here for Ichiro Replica Statue Night, April 10th, presented by BDA. Humpy Shoulder Plush Night, April 11th, thanks to Microsoft. And Randy Johnson Number Retirement Night, May 2nd, presented by T-Mobile. Get your tickets at mariners.com.
Walter is a soccer player, a soccer coach, and a soccer dad. So when he injured his Achilles, it affected everything.
Every time I ran or tried to play soccer, it would just get worse.
And he wasn't the only one dealing with it.
I was a soccer parent, and within a few weeks, 2 other fathers tore their Achilles or damaged their Achilles. They went to the surgery. I went to Dr. Mark Wagner, and I was back up and running, and they were jealous because it took them months to recover. One of them never fully recovered.
That's right. Walter chose to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy, the most experienced in the Northwest with over 20,000 stem cell procedures.
The recovery period is so short, and the feeling that you have of being completely back to normal is overwhelming.
So, whether it's a hip, like I had, a shoulder, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio.
Well, it's a topic of a lot of contention here in our state. We certainly have been talking a lot about it. This week, Governor Bob Ferguson signed it into law, a 9.9% income tax on Washington households that earn over $1 million a year.
Well, now a legal challenge being filed to stop the law from taking effect. That challenge led by former State Attorney General Rob McKenna, who just so happens to join us every Wednesday. And last Wednesday, I believe we asked you, Rob, if you might be involved in some sort of challenge.
Tap danced away, Rob.
You knew, didn't you?
Well, it wasn't a done deal yet, but now we have a group of plaintiffs, and we're drafting up the complaint. We'll be filing the lawsuit quite soon.
Why is this legislation of such concern to you?
Well, it's of concern not because we can't have an income tax in this state. We could have one. It's been allowed all along as it meets the rules for property taxes, which means it has to be uniform and no higher than 1%. Or we could have a progressive income tax by amending the Constitution to exclude income from the Constitution's definition of property, which was amended in by the voters a long time ago to include every kind of intangible property, including income. So, in fact, the legislature in the past has sent no fewer than 6 constitutional amendments to the ballot for voter approval that would have excluded income from property. And all 6 times, most recently in the 1970s, voters turned it down by a vote of 77% to 23% the last time it was on the ballot. There have also been 4 initiatives that would have created an income tax. Those were all defeated. So 10 times in a row, voters have said, no, we don't want a progressive income tax in this state. It's what the Constitution says. It's the way the Constitution is written by the voters. It's been consistently interpreted by the courts in a series of decisions dating back many years. And you know, if we want to have a progressive income tax, okay, we know what the path is. We amend the Constitution. We don't, take an oath to uphold the Constitution and then ignore it by passing a law which is clearly unconstitutional today.
And so the only way you view a tax like this or somehow taxing millionaires or what have you is through a constitutional amendment?
Yeah, which is exactly the conclusion the Supreme Court has reached on multiple occasions. It's exactly the conclusion that the state legislatures in the past have concluded. Keep in mind that it's not easy to send an amendment to the voters, yet to amend the Constitution, you need 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the state Senate to approve it. Then it has to go to the voters for majority approval. The legislatures managed to do that 6 times because they wanted a progressive income tax. The voters have a different idea. They turned it down in 1934. They've turned it down ever since then by greater and greater margins. So, it's important as a matter of the rule of law to respect what the Constitution says and to follow it. I've been thinking about this a lot in the context of the birthright citizenship case. President Trump is at the Supreme Court as we speak, listening to arguments. He's claiming that the 14th Amendment does not grant birthright citizenship to the children of people who are here illegally or undocumented. But that's not the interpretation of the Constitution that it has always been given, right? And the words of the Constitution in the 14th Amendment have not changed since that amendment was enacted. Same with the property definition in our Constitution. The words haven't changed. The courts have always said that the words mean what they say. The voters, this is one difference, the voters have repeatedly reaffirmed our Constitution's inclusion of income in the definition of property. So, people who think that precedent ought to be respected and the Constitution's language ought to be honored should see that's true for birthright citizenship, and it's true for income as property in Washington state.
Talking with former State Attorney General Rob McKenna, I've asked you in the past, Rob, if you thought this would be some long, drawn-out legal battle. Your answer then was no. Does that change now that you're in the thick of it?
No, this is not my first tax rodeo, and I brought other challenges. We've gone through the Superior Court, and where the case has been taken up directly by the state Supreme Court, we've had a decision within about 18 months. So as litigation goes, this is not a long, drawn-out affair. It's all decided on the law. There's no discovery, no trial involved. It's just a question of law, and I think this can be in the Supreme Court by next year.
Rob, what are your concerns, or do you have any? There are a lot of people out there, cynical folks maybe, concerning the makeup of the court in our state and your ability maybe to get a fair shake on this issue. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, I think some of those concerns come out of the capital gains tax case, which I took to the state Supreme Court. We had prior Supreme Court decisions which said when you have a tax that's called an excise, but it's measured by someone's income, it's really an income tax. This Supreme Court went a different direction and said, no, we think it really is an excise tax. But they went to great lengths to explain that it was an excise and not an income tax. And they declined an invitation from some of the interveners in that case to take that opportunity to overturn 90 years of precedent finding that income is property. So, I think this is a court that, it has a lot of smart lawyers on it, and they can read the Constitution. They know that they're supposed to respect precedent, and they're supposed to honor the words in the Constitution. So, I have faith that they'll get to the right decision. But folks who are worried or skeptical about that do point to the capital gains decision, to make the other argument.
Rob, I know it's appointment listening for you every morning at 7:35 for my commentary, so I'll give you a special preview. I'm going to argue that actually voters are going to be voting on the income tax this November, and they have 5 opportunities to vote on it. This is going to be quite a Supreme Court race. Does the race play any part in how you are approaching this case? It could be a much different makeup 18 months from now.
No, we're approaching the case the same. We don't control who's on the court, and you're right, there'll be some new members of the court next year. We have an unusual number of seats, as I know you'll talk about. 5 out of the 9 seats are up this year. But it doesn't change our arguments in the least. Remember, there's nothing new about this. There have been attempts roughly every 10 years since the 1930s to enact a progressive income tax. And they've all failed because the voters have been very clear they don't want it. So, I assume this issue will come up as candidates are seeking the Supreme Court seats this fall. But for us as lawyers, writing the arguments in this case and making them, it doesn't really affect how we approach the case.
Set an alarm. Again, that's 7:35 for Charlie's commentary.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Manda, I had kind of assumed that Rob was going steady with us, but no. He was on with Curly the other afternoon. Rob, what about loyalty?
Well, I got a lot of history with Curly going back to his involvement in the community, so I couldn't say no to Joe. Plus, he's personally blowing up my phone, so
we'll let it go this time, Rob.
This time.
Yeah. All right, you got it.
Thanks, we appreciate you. Former State Attorney General Rob McKenna. It's 5:54. If you're coming in from the north end, you're going to get wet. The rain is coming down pretty heavily through the convergence zone. Other than that, we're not seeing much precipitation other than on the coast. We'll all see a mix of showers and sun for today. Just lingering showers, stuff left over from yesterday. 53 the high. For tomorrow, looks great. You might see a few sprinkles, but partly sunny by afternoon and 57. And then we're going to get into a really nice stretch of weather. The weekend looks terrific. Mostly sunny both days with highs in the low 60s. By Monday, look for a high of 67. Right now in Seattle, we have mostly cloudy skies. It's 43 degrees. Coming up, Luke Ducey on the pushback from one Democratic lawmaker in our state toward Governor Ferguson over cuts to a program that was to address retail theft. Also a KIRO Newsradio exclusive, an in-depth look at the devastation taking place in encampments across the city and why city leadership's harm reduction solutions are making the problem worse. This is Seattle's Morning News on KIRO News Radio.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO News Radio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO News Radio app. KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle.
Hey there, Dawn Riley with Olympic Hot Tub. Make the arrival of spring even sweeter with a healthy, relaxing saltwater soak every night. During our Sweet Spring Savings event, you can save up to $3,000 on the hot tub of your dreams. Experience the incredible wellness benefits of natural salt water right in your own backyard. Ends April 14th. Learn more at OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
Hey, it's John Curley with Dr. Kopstein from K2 Vision RLE. Doc, I heard that 50% of Americans have their lenses replaced by the time they're 75.
That's exactly right, John. As we near 50, our eye's natural lens starts to become dysfunctional. If you've now added readers to your need for glasses and contacts, it's a sign the quality and function of your natural lens is fading, and it's a steady decline towards cataracts.
Don't go another 20 plus years with poor vision, hassling with contacts and readers. Do what I did. Choose a quick, painless refractive lens exchange from K2 Vision RLE and start enjoying great vision now.
Our new lens technology is truly amazing. After replacing over 100,000 lenses, we have the experience to guide each patient to their best solution, even if that's recommending you wait a little while before RLE.
K2 Vision RLE can restore distance and near vision permanently, plus never develop a cataract. Read the reviews and schedule a free Zoom consultation now at k2visionrle.com.
At the Boy Scouts of America, our oath remains. A Scout pledges to be kind, helpful, and brave. We're committed to providing a safe and welcoming environment where Scouts can establish the foundations of character that will last a lifetime. Our approach ensures the Boy Scouts of America is building the youth of today into the leaders we'll turn to tomorrow. The Boy Scouts of America. Building character is in our nature. Visit scouting.org to learn more about scouting.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. So glad, so thankful that Molly and I made the call. Had heard so many First Mark Challenge victories, we needed to take that challenge. What does happen from your perspective when that caller, when that email, when that person reaches out to you for a First Mark Challenge victory?
That's a great question. So there's several steps we go through in the process. The first step is we're going to gather information, find out all we can about that client and what their needs are. The next step is we will go out to the market. We have dozens and dozens of carriers that will compete for the business. At the end of that process, we will then bring those findings back to the customer, show them what we found, and who the eventual winner was in that competition.
And it may be who they're with.
It might be, yes. And sometimes that's the best we can do is recommend they stay where they are, but maybe modify a few coverages to put them in a better position.
So go take that challenge today. Go be the next First Mark Challenge victory. It costs you nothing, and they will be there with you every step of the way. FirstMarkInsurance.com. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Parango and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Your windows and doors play a huge role in your home's efficiency and comfort. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors for windows that are up to 25% more energy efficient than Energy Star standards and reduce noise by up to 50%. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com today.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We begin with a telling first full day for the crew of the Artemis II and their hopes of making history in space.
Artemis II has fired its thruster rockets to adjust its orbit around the Earth, raising the low point to more than 100 miles. That engine burn came when they were at the high point, nearly 44,000 miles up.
We're tracking a good burn.
And we see the same, and with a bonus trim burn.
And they could be headed a whole lot farther than that in a few hours. Mission managers will determine whether or not they're pleased with Orion's performance this afternoon. And if so, it's translunar injection tonight, the rocket firing that sends Reed Weissman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen to the moon. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
Analysts are sizing up President Trump's primetime speech to the nation last night on the Iran war. He defended his decision to attack and said the U.S. military needs more time. CBS News Chief Washington analyst Robert Costa.
You see a real aggressive approach right now from President Trump. There's no signal that he wants to wind this down in any way or use ground troops. It's really about how he navigates so many issues, trying to get toward a deal. And he wants to leave a lot of options on the table.
There's a new option for those magical shots. Eli Lilly, maker of the weight loss drug Zepbound, has gotten FDA approval for a new obesity pill, Foundeo. It follows Novo Nordisk's Wegovy pill, which hit the market late last year. Benefits? CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder.
The easier it is for people to take it, so no injections, no refrigeration, that may bring in people who did not want to get treated or avoided treatment before.
Both pills are much less expensive than injections. New DNA testing confirms a Utah teenager, Laura Ann Amy, was murdered by serial killer Ted Bundy more than 50 years ago. He confessed to the crime, but officials didn't have the technology to prove it at the time. Sheriff's Sergeant Mike Reynolds.
We felt the pain that the family feels when she was taken. We felt the pain that you felt this whole entire time, and we've had a desire to deliver to you some type of healing. And I know I can't really say the word closure, but some type of healing, and hopefully we've brought that.
Americans are upping their goals for retirement savings. CBS's Michael Wallace.
Northwestern Mutual asked thousands of people how much money they think they will need in retirement. The magic number was $1.46 million, up from $1.26 million last year due to concerns about inflation. A recent NerdWallet poll found only 5% of Americans with retirement accounts have socked away at least $1 million. 9% have saved $500,000.
Dow futures down 615. This is CBS News.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 48 Hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Time for traffic on the threes. Here's Chris Sullivan.
And we do have some weather up in the north end. We've had that convergent zone rain this morning, so watch out. Your conditions are probably going to change no matter what. That seems to be the one little pocket we still have left, because once I got down to 175th, it really had disappeared. So that's pretty good. The travel times right now, we do have some brake lights down through the Mill Creek interchange, a little bit in Bothell, but overall 40 minutes from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue. That's certainly positive. Whatever we had on westbound 410 in Sumner about a half an hour ago seems to have taken care of itself. We're looking all green there. And then you get over to the Valley Freeway, and we're under 40 minutes from Puyallup up to Renton. Renton to Bellevue is only 15 minutes. You're going to have a little bit of slowing through the ramp meter, but nothing you can't handle. Federal Way to Seattle, 35 minutes. The braking there just kind of centered around the Kent-Des Moines Moines Road, 516. Other than that, not bad. Lake bridges are fine. Olympia to Tacoma, no problems for you guys. This report brought to you by the Seattle Mariners. Ichiro Replica Statue Night, Friday, April 10th. Don't miss out and get your tickets at mariners.com.
Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Live from East Lake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Good morning at 6:04. Governor Bob Ferguson is facing heavy criticism after vetoing funding to fight organized retail crime.
The move comes after the state ranked #1 in the nation for theft a couple of years ago.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey joins us live with the latest.
Yeah, the governor announced his veto yesterday, removing $500,000 to fight retail theft, and he did it right before he signed the state's supplemental operating budget.
If we have a proposal to do something in our budget, we've got to have the funding to do it. When there was not funding provided and agencies could not absorb the costs, I had to veto those programs.
Forbes called Washington state #1 in the nation for retail theft back in 2024. Businesses have lost more than $2.5 billion from retail theft. The state has lost an estimated $600 million in taxes. That is why State Rep Mari Levitt, who is a Democrat, says she's deeply disappointed and puzzled by the governor's move. Last year, with the governor's support, she helped launch a retail theft pilot program, and it worked. From January to June last year, King County prosecutors filed some 142 retail theft cases, which is 2.5 times more than the average across the past 4 years. Well, yesterday at that budget bill signing, the governor stuck to his guns, explaining exactly why he needed to make that cut.
Our state agencies are taking another $1 billion in reductions after already taking significant cuts last session. Our state employees, once again, are being asked to do more with less. Consequently, we have limited ability to absorb additional work or expenses that are not funded in the budget.
You know, retail theft has led to the closing of 2 Fred Meyer locations, one in Everett and Kent. Levitt said on social media, when stores close, it often causes food deserts in many neighborhoods. And she says the veto could now put small businesses and public safety at risk. You know, Charlie and Amanda, retail theft is why you see more and more security guards at grocery stores. So the entrances, the hottest items that people want to steal, laundry detergent, baby formula, clothes, and alcohol. That's not all of them, but those are some of the hot items. You know, I've been out on stories in areas in Seattle and seen like these makeshift markets with all these items, like up on pegboards even, like displayed for people to come by and buy at cheaper prices. It funds, drugs and other addictions.
Yeah, that's why it's behind plexiglass. All right. Luke Ducey reporting live at 6:06.
2 Washington sheriffs are pushing back against a new law targeting law enforcement leaders. Governor Ferguson signed the bill yesterday.
It requires sheriffs and police chiefs to be certified, pass a background check, and have a clean criminal history. The News Tribune reports Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank and Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders both called it government overreach. Ferguson says sheriffs should be held to the same standards as their own deputies.
We've told you a new audit is raising questions about nearly $37 million in child care payments in Washington. The auditor's office found weak oversight at the Department of Children, Youth and Families led to questionable payments made with federal funds last year. Senate Republican leader John Braun called the findings a systemic failure.
The agency's response to, hey, this is really bad was, well, we're going to need more money. There's no trust that they'll use that money to really get after the problem.
The auditor's report does not confirm there was fraud. In a statement, DCYF says it's committed to strengthening internal controls and resolving the issues identified.
Keeping you informed since 1974. This is the city's longest-running radio news show.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO News Radio.
Well, here we are, Thursday, April 2nd. Charlie Harger along with Manda Factor as we make our way through the day.
Well, it's your Friday. Are you excited?
I know. I am.
Bags all packed?
Spring break is upon us.
Nice.
I am really looking forward to it.
Chris Sullivan is here watching traffic every 10 minutes. Producer David Burbank in the studio with us. And Nick Kreisha is running the board and picking the music.
Yeah, here we are. It's Holy Thursday, Maundy Thursday to some. Tomorrow, Good Friday. Of course, Easter is on Sunday.
This hour of Seattle's Morning News is sponsored by American Crawl Space and Pest Control.
Coming up, in fact, you might want to turn on the live feed of YouTube right now and watch us because we have a video report coming up. I've been working on this for quite a while now. There is a homeless camp explosion on Beacon Hill. I speak to some neighbors. I speak to people suffering from addiction, and it's something you won't want to miss. That is at 6:15.
Also, we're going to break down last night's primetime address from President Trump with CBS White House correspondent Olivia Rinaldi.
It's 6:08 now. Deputies in Snohomish County shot and killed a man yesterday. KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery tells us the investigation is still underway.
This happened in Linwood near Martha Lake Park around 5 p.m. Wednesday. Deputies say they got a call about some sort of disturbance at a home and were told that a man had a gun. Very few details have been released at this moment, but shots were fired. A suspect was hit. Investigators say they tried to save him, but he died at the scene. No deputies were hurt. Mukilteo police will lead an outside investigation to avoid conflicts of interest. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
A 2-year-old toddler was shot in Tacoma Tuesday night.
Tacoma police say it happened just before 9:30 near South Steele Street and 96th Street South. Fortunately, the toddler was taken to the hospital and last reported in stable condition. About 2 hours after the shooting, police located and arrested 2 suspects, one on suspicion of first-degree assault, the other suspected of rendering criminal assistance. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Police services in the city of North Bend are now being contracted to the King County Sheriff's Office. The interlocal agreement was formalized last year. Ed Hall, a former King County deputy, has been tapped to lead the department.
I will eventually have a detective and 10 deputies or officers that are dedicated to the city of North Bend.
It's 6:10. City of Sandwood plans to reactivate its flock camera system later this week. It follows newly signed legislation that regulates automated license plate readers. Stanwood police previously shut down the cameras last spring to ensure local and legal compliance. The new legislation bars federal agencies outside of Washington from accessing the camera's data and prevents them from being placed in sensitive areas such as schools or hospitals. The mayor of Stanwood says the new law strikes a balance between public safety and privacy.
More than 40 Washington companies have a part in NASA's Artemis II mission to the moon. KIRO 7 TV's Dee Sun says that includes L3 Harris in Redmond, which builds rocket thrusters.
Carbon Space and Defense in Mukilteo is also contributing to the mission. They make the mechanism that launches the parachutes to help astronauts return to Earth. Boeing is the lead contractor on the SLS rocket that'll propel the Orion Crew module into space.
Federal drug enforcement agents are bracing for a surge in demand for fentanyl and other drugs this summer. KIRO 7's Madeline Ottley spoke with Seattle Special Agent in Charge Robert Saccone about the issue.
Agents' work will ramp up this summer as hundreds of thousands of people flock to Seattle for the World Cup. Saccone couldn't share specifics of enforcement operations, but assured they were happening in the background.
Our agents are working 24 hours, 7 days a week. They look like normal people. They're normal, regular clothes and regular cars. And so most of the time, the public won't even see a DEA agent, and that's our purpose.
Saccone says they're working aggressively to disrupt the supply chain that fuels production of fentanyl by cartels in Mexico. Those drugs eventually making their way to the streets of Seattle.
Just about 6:12. That's time for a check on the weather, and we say good morning to KIRO 7's Nick Allard. Boy, the rain in the north end is really coming down, Nick.
Yeah, they've had a half inch of rain just since midnight in and around the Everett area, so it really is heavy. It's not as heavy as it was, but we're still looking at some pockets where it's pretty good. So expect to find, yes, some rain at times in that Puget Sound convergence zone. That is the main spot for rain, but if you look around, say, like Olympia, we're getting some pockets of showers as well. Not a lot, but you're definitely getting pockets of showers. It's lighter. So what we'll see, rain will continue in that convergence zone throughout the morning hours and be lighter at times around, say, like Everett to Lake Stevens, Marysville, Port Angeles. And then I think you're going to see just a few showers this afternoon, kind of lingering in that convergence zone, but there won't be a lot, just a little bit, and decreasing as the day goes on, and temperatures getting to the low to mid 50s. So the wettest time is now, and the driest time will be later today with just a few pockets of lingering showers, especially in the central sound. But again, not much. It's just really wet this morning. Then tomorrow, we're going to see a few showers closer to the Canadian border and the coast. That's all. Rest of your day looks drier. We're going to find temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, and then really going to warm up this weekend and next week. You're in the low to mid 60s for Saturday, Sunday, and then I think you are in at least the upper 60s for Monday, probably around 67 degrees. It looks really, really nice.
We'll take it. Thanks, Nick. Right now it's cloudy and 43 in Seattle.
It's 6:13. Sully is at the traffic desk.
How many degrees was that?
6-7.
How many degrees?
Let it go.
Okay. Hey, good example of why you need to watch your speeds while on corners. Hey, semi driver, I'm looking at you. We have a tipped over semi on eastbound I-90 right at T-Mobile Park. If you leave the stadium, you know you got that little gentle left-hand corner. Well, he tipped over onto a double dump truck. So this is going to be there for a while. Fortunately, this will only really impact people coming up from like First Ave who use that to get to I-90 or maybe the CD lanes. So be watching that closely. Rest of the map, normal for this time of day. We've got about 40 minutes from Puyallup to Renton. Renton to Bellevue's under 20. Federal Way to Seattle's under 40, and we're running right around 40 to 45 from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue, depending on how you hit the brakes pulling away from Linwood. This report brought to you by the KIRO Newsradio App. Text app to 888-973-5476. Download the KIRO News Radio app, listen to your favorite shows, and get the latest news right to your phone.
News matters. Experience counts. You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Drug station after drug station after drug station.
This is Beacon Hill. 4 parks, hundreds of people now, and an open-air drug market operating in plain sight. I've been here 4 times in the past 4 months, and every time it's worse. Volunteers cleaned this graffiti on Sunday, and by Wednesday, as I visited, it was back. The dog park is unusable, and the pagoda, a gift from Korea, is now someone's shelter.
This is not down and out homeless. If we keep calling this a homeless and an affordability crisis or not enough shelters, we are doing these folks a disjustice and an injustice to the neighbors. This is a open air drug market.
Andrea Suarez has been documenting these camps for 5.5 years with We Heart Seattle. And she's trying to get city leaders to understand something they keep getting wrong. This is not a housing crisis. These aren't people who lost a job and couldn't make rent. This is a drug crisis. And until we call it that, we'll never solve it.
There's prostitution, theft, dealing, using, property destruction. Don't get down on the drug addict. They're being preyed on by dealers, by Johns, pimps, anybody that knows that they are a vulnerable population.
And every time someone here smokes fentanyl, they're gambling with their life. One hit could be their last. Kevin has lived in this neighborhood for years. He watched the camps grow from a few tents to what you see now.
And then just in the last, I say 2 months, it just exploded, especially after they really patrolled the Jackson and 12th area. Seemed like that whole issue just kind of moved over to our neighborhood. People up here in the north end that share an alley right next to the Lewis Park, they've been threatened as they asked people to clear their driveways so they could get in route, had their porches defecated on. One was, threatened saying, hey, we know where you live.
Kevin tells me he's emailed his council member 4 times, the mayor's office too. No response.
We're at a loss. We felt helpless, hopeless. It's like we have to just live with this chaos.
Kevin told me something he heard 15 years ago from a leader at a local homeless shelter.
Said our homeless problem is really a drug problem masquerading as a homeless problem. And I don't think what we see here is just these people can't afford to face the death. They need treatment.
And then here's KG. I first met him last summer in Belltown at a rough and tumble corner with dozens of homeless addicts. Andrea was able to get him into Lakeside Milam, a treatment center, the same day she found him. He graduated, reunited with his mom after 10 years, gained 30 pounds, and then he came back.
I've known him for a year and on my block, and it's hard. Of course he's going to come back out here and fail. Seattle has a no-rules playground, permissive.
I didn't have nowhere to go. I was outside again. And I'm like, what can I do? So you get these feelings, you know what I mean? Like, life don't matter no more sometimes. You know, it's like you just want to get all these feelings away. So If I would have stayed in the recovery house that she gave me, I would have did good.
And now we're standing where the pavilion once was. It was demolished. This is where barbecues were had, memories were had, ice cream parties, birthday parties, especially for this Filipino community and the Vietnamese and the Chinese International District. I mean, this is a melting pot. Good morning, just doing a wellness check on you guys.
This is what it looked like right here in December. People passed out under garbage. Andrea had to check a man lying on the concrete just to make sure he was still alive.
Can I get a sign of life, my friend? Okay.
Seattle's solution? Tear it down.
This is kind of the Seattle way, is fence it off, tear it down, block it off, instead of getting to the root problem, which is to enforce the law, pass legislation that says narcotic use, illegal use of drugs.
Now they're building a gender-neutral bathroom near where the pavilion stood. Here's what I want to understand. Does anyone from the city, the county, the state, does anyone walk up to the people we saw today and say, hey man, I think you need some help. Let's get you into rehab today?
Who knows what's going on inside there? Who knows if they have housing?
Well, the answer is no. That's not how it works.
There's more foil as foliage than foliage. Like foliage has a new meaning in Seattle.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There's a philosophy of meeting people where they're at, just give them harm reduction supplies, more foil, more needles, more Narcan, a sandwich to keep them alive another day until they're ready.
Under the harm reduction model, outreach workers don't proactively offer treatment. They wait. The policy is to say nothing unless the addict asks for help first. But here's the thing. Treatment is available right now, today.
There's Lakeside Milam. Ituha, Valley Cities is open 24/7. You can go to the new Orca Center, $12 million new 3rd Avenue, 12 brand new leather chairs, 24/7, walk in anytime to stabilize, and they're not even at capacity.
Don't believe Andrea? Listen to KG.
It is available, but you just gotta know where to go to. But she put me in a nice place, I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? I felt good.
And when she first met him, Andrea was able to get KG into treatment the same day. Not a referral, a ride. That's what it takes, and that's what almost no one is doing. Every time someone smokes fentanyl, there's a chance they won't wake up. KG knows. You know how many people have died?
My best friend just died like a week ago.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's he was smoking too much dope and just sitting in the car. It makes you like your whole body, it takes everything away from your like nutrients of your body. So if you like don't eat for like a couple of days or like even like so you gotta eat a lot of food at least, you know what I mean? And like let's say you oversleep like 16 hours, right? And you just stay in the car, you'll die. That's how easy it is because it takes everything out of your body.
Kevin has been thinking about this for 20 years.
Back in the day, when I was young, it was very common for interventions to take place. You know, people that cared about people that were addicted and they did something. It was hard, it was kind of tough, but you know, the alternative is if you let people use, eventually they're going to die.
KG agreed to return to treatment if she called him last Friday, so that's when Andrea called him. He didn't answer. On Sunday, Andrea texted me. KG was high and desperate for help. She offered to pick him up and bring him to detox. He agreed, but then he disappeared. On Monday, We Heart Seattle volunteers found KG, this time in Belltown. He was slumped over, clearly drugged, but he agreed to get treatment.
Where are we off to, KG?
We're off to Lakeside Milam, a whole different lifestyle. Inshallah. God bless.
Somewhere in the last decade, Seattle decided that leaving people to rot in public parks was the enlightened approach, that surrounding them with needles and foils and looking the other way was dignity, that demanding they get help was cruelty. We have convinced ourselves that tolerating open-air drug markets, human suffering, prostitution, and crime in our neighborhoods is the compassionate choice, that asking people to get help is an imposition, that the kindest thing we can do is wait. But Andrea didn't get that memo. She keeps calling anyway. And this week, KG might take that first step. The city is still waiting for him to ask. That's the policy, right? Outreach workers are trained to stand nearby and say nothing. No offer of treatment, no push toward help until the addict asks first. KG has wanted bad enough to say so while he's high in a park surrounded by dealers. That is what we're calling compassion.
Boy, I hope for the best for KG.
Yeah, it was so difficult to get him in that car.
Yeah. Boy,
But he really wanted the help. That's the thing. He's gone through it, and he told us you can get help just like that.
I was at that park with you, 2-3 months ago?
Yeah.
Boy, it has changed.
And it was bad then.
Yeah.
So our thoughts are with the neighbors. And
if you didn't see the video, by the way, is this up, posted?
We are posting it now. You can go on the YouTube live feed.
It is eye-opening.
Yeah. So that all started with a tip from a listener. So keep tipping away, and we try to follow up when we can.
All right, it's 6:24. We need to get a check on traffic, and Chris Sullivan is here.
And we've got a couple of issues to talk about. One of them, a new one, thanks to Trucker Rob, our good friend out there. Westbound 512, right before you get to I-5 over in Lakewood, we've got a crash that's blocking multiple left lanes. So we're seeing delays back to Highway 7. Most of the south sound's in pretty good shape. Once you get through that, or you're heading over to I-5, it's only going to be 40 minutes from Federal Way to Seattle, a little over 40 from Puyallup to Renton. The other issue we have is right there at T-Mobile Park on the eastbound I-90. Looks like a trucker didn't negotiate the curb very well getting away from T-Mobile Park. He tipped his semi on top of a double dump truck. And so it's there on its side, and I just talked to State Patrol, no injuries, so that's positive. But if you're coming up from Pioneer Square, First Ave, you're going to run into that. Not a huge issue at this point. Rented to Bellevue, about 20 minutes, coming down from the north end, 45 from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue. KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Mix of light showers and sun for most of us today. Heavy rain in the convergence zone, though, 53 our high. It's cloudy and 43 in Seattle right now. And coming up, KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey has local reaction to President Trump's primetime address, and we'll get to your opening bell report. This is Seattle's Morning News.
Now, a word for the team at Boss Retirement Solutions. You saved more than $300,000. That's real money. But here's the question. How far will it actually go in retirement? Because without tax planning, a significant chunk of every withdrawal, your IRA, your 401k, your Social Security, goes straight to the IRS. Good tax planning could make your savings go twice as far. Not twice as lucky, twice as far, because you kept more of what you earned. The savings over a lifetime could be six figures. Boss Retirement Solutions will show you what's possible with a free retirement tax savings analysis. Call 206-210-1350. Same savings, twice the distance. Boss Retirement Solutions, 206-210-1350.
For informational purposes only, actual results may vary. No statement contained herein shall constitute tax, legal, or investment advice.
KIRO News Radio, the first place you turn for the news you trust.
ICE agents have now been deployed to 14 airports across the country.
Traffic.
Did they open lanes?
They just reopened all lanes of northbound I-5.
Engaging conversation.
If he ends this right now, it only emboldens Iran. That's a big, big mistake.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
A one-hander! JSN!
Always here, always with you. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Listen, every day across Washington, kids stay after school giving their all for sports and activities, many on empty stomachs. That's a problem. Food insecurity in our state is at crisis levels, and it's hurting learning and performance. Safeway and Champions of Change Foundation are stepping up with Nourishing Champions, providing grants to schools for after-school meal programs. Schools don't wait. Applications close April 8th. That's April 8th. Go to championsofchangefoundation.org and click Nourishing Champions.
It's a fact. When your eyes work correctly, light focuses through both your cornea and your lens to give you high-quality vision. Hi, it's Dr. Kopstein from K2 Vision. Here's another fact. As we near age 50, we begin to lose the quality and function of our natural lens. That's when we start to reach for reading glasses and contemplate those cataracts on the horizon, typically in our 70s or later, but inevitable if we get old enough. Fortunately, K2 Vision has the advanced permanent solution for both, refractive lens exchange, or RLE. K2 Vision RLE is a quick, painless procedure that restores distance and near vision permanently. Plus, another thing is permanent. You will never develop a cataract. After over 20 years replacing over 100,000 failing lenses, we will help you determine when it's your right time for RLE.
Schedule your free Zoom consult today at k2visionrle.com. K2 Vision RLE. No readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts.
Hey there, Dawn Riley with Olympic Hot Tub. Ready for family fun and fitness year-round in your own backyard? During our Sweet Spring Savings event, we're adding Endless Pools factory discounts with our already incredible savings. That means you can enjoy up to $16,500 off your dream swim spa. Don't wait. These amazing savings end April 14th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
What if you could have the most reliable Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Just 5 years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi? It would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Powered by fiber. Connects to the premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Live from East Lake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Good morning. It is 6:31. President Donald Trump is facing sharp backlash after his televised update on the Iran war last night.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer calling the speech rambling and disjointed. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is here with more reaction.
Yeah, and Charlie, many Republicans loved what they heard last night from the president. Senator Lindsey Graham praised Operation Epic Fury as one of the most successful military operations in history. Trump said the U.S. has hit just about all of their targets so far in Iran.
We are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We are going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Former Trump loyalist Marjorie Taylor Greene, who left Congress at the start of the year, expressed disappointment, saying all I've heard from his speech tonight was war, war, war. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on social media President Trump delivered a powerful speech.
Our armed forces have delivered swift, decisive, overwhelming victories on the battlefield.
And we also heard from folks heading to work this morning. These were a couple of commuters in the nation's capital.
I'm just a regular citizen getting up, going to work every day, and it's affecting my life. So I think, yes, it doesn't make any sense what's going on. But, yeah, overall, I just don't like Trump.
I think we're in the right place at the right time, doing the best we can with what we have, and trying to get our allies to step up and do what they need to be doing.
And when it comes to allies and oil, Trump said we have plenty of oil. We don't need any, so they could come to us and buy it from us. Or, he said to our allies, you can do this.
Build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before. Should have done it with us, as we asked. Go to the strait and just take it.
Mostly the reaction I've seen this morning is based on which way you lean on the political scale. We are also seeing some reaction from our local politicians. We could have more on that later this morning.
Okay, Luke Ducey, thank you. Governor Ferguson vetoed funding to fight organized retail crime despite pressure to keep it.
In 2024, Washington ranked as the #1 state in the U.S. impacted by retail crime, according to Forbes. And this year's supplemental budget had $500,000 for community prevention efforts and diversion programs. When word came down about a possible veto, the News Tribune reports State Representative Mari Levitt sent a letter to the governor and then posted throughout the day on social media advocating to keep it, calling retail theft a crisis and saying our state needs to send a message. Ultimately, the governor axed that funding, saying every department had to make hard cuts to balance the budget. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
A multi-agency team is investigating a shooting involving at least one Snohomish County deputy that led to the death of one man. This happened on East Shore Drive in Martha Lake, just east of Linwood last night. Investigators say they were looking into some sort of disturbance and that their reports say a man had a gun. It's not clear what led to the shots being fired. So Mukilteo police are leading the investigation to avoid a conflict of interest.
Time to get a check on traffic now. Chris Sullivan is watching the roads for us.
And a little bit of improvement on westbound 512 as you're trying to get over to I-5. The crash that had blocked a couple of left lanes, now over on the right-hand shoulder. There still is some slowing approaching Highway 7, and then it crunches in as you get over to I-5, but at least the crash is out of the way, so that's positive. That's our one issue on the freeways proper that we have to deal with. I'll get to the other issue in a moment because it's not having a huge impact on our drive, but Federal Way to Seattle's running right around 42 minutes. We're under 45 from Puyallup to Renton. We have brake lights out of Auburn, but more yellow than red, which is good, and then Renton to Bellevue is about 22 minutes. Really packed in through those S-curves from about 167 up through SR 900. Lake bridges are still fine. We're up to 50 minutes, though, from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue, with 30 of that away from Linwood. Now to the issue that I'm watching closely, right on I-90 eastbound, right at the stadiums, basically right off of right field at T-Mobile Park. Looks like a semi was having trouble with negotiating the curve there, and it tipped over onto a double dump truck. So it's going to take a little while to get this taken care of. No injuries, according to the State Patrol. So just be prepared. You only have one lane available there if you're heading up from, say, First Ave to try to get to I-5 or into the downtown core, or even to go to eastbound 90. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. You can always listen to your favorite local sports content on the FM dial, 97.3 HD2.
Just a slight chance of showers. If you're listening in the convergence zone, you're going, what the heck is she talking about? We are seeing heavy rain in that area, but for most of us, it's just going to be a slight chance of a shower and some sunshine today, 53. Tomorrow, few sprinkles possibility, 57, but Saturday through Monday, gorgeous. By Monday, we'll be up around 67. Right now in Seattle, cloudy and 43.
6:35, time for the opening bell report. Gas prices continue a record-breaking climb, with fuel costs continuing to rank among the highest in the country, according to AAA. Oil and gas analyst Ray Trevino tells CBS News that prices will remain high unless the Strait of Hormuz reopens. If it doesn't,
we would definitely see gasoline, diesel prices, and the barrel of oil to continue to be in this price range from $90 to $100. And we will continue to see that for a couple of more weeks.
So this morning, the average price around Washington State is $5.36. I'm just looking at the trading of Brent crude now.
Don't do it.
It's up 8 points, 109 a barrel.
All right. During that address to the nation, President Trump did acknowledge many Americans have been concerned to see the rise in gas prices. We get more from CBS News correspondent Jesse Mitchell.
The price for a barrel of crude increased within minutes of President Trump's address. KCM Trade Chief Market Analyst Tim Waterer says the speech was not what traders expected.
Markets were anticipating maybe a more conciliatory tone from the president, but instead we heard he seemed to be upping the ante.
The president also said the Strait of Hormuz would reopen naturally once the conflict ended. Emily Harding is with the Center for Strategic and International Studies. She says that's a strange way to put it.
The Iranian regime basically has to decide that they're going to allow shipping to move through the strait unmolested. It's really quite easy for them to continue to harass ships moving through there.
Jesse Mitchell, CBS News.
A new survey of business forecasters finds the war with Iran has raised a lot of questions about the U.S. economy. Here's Cammie McCormick.
The war has business forecasters lowering their estimates for economic growth and raising their worries about inflation.
Geopolitical risk has gone from a background concern to being the dominant force shaping the U.S. economic outlook.
Yelena Malayev of the National Association for Business Economics.
43% of panelists put the odds of a recession over the next 12 months somewhere between 35 and 50%.
The survey also found many believe the Fed is in a difficult position and may not cut interest rates this year.
And all of that just feeds into the uncertainty that the average listener is probably feeling right now when it comes to the economy.
Americans are raising their retirement savings goals.
Northwestern Mutual asked thousands of people how much money they think they will need in retirement. The magic number was $1.46 million, up from $1.26 million last year due to concerns about inflation. Other surveys have found what Americans think they need to save and what they actually save are entirely different. A recent NerdWallet poll found only 5% of Americans with retirement accounts have socked away at least $1 million. 9% have saved $500,000. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
One of Seattle's biggest names in food is starting fresh. Restaurateur Ethan Stoll tells the Puget Sound Business Journal he's launching a new venture after leaving the company that bears his name last year. He's opening 2 restaurants this summer. Cut Club is a steakhouse going into downtown Seattle's Hotel Max. Lime Social is a Mexican restaurant headed to the Village at Totem Lake in Kirkland. Stoll is still a shareholder in Ethan Stoll Restaurants, but his new brand will take back his name. The old company will rebrand.
We mentioned oil prices are up, stocks are down, and the Dow is down 624 points, about 1.3% right now at 45,941. S&P 500 down 95, and the Nasdaq is down 2%, 448 points.
Now, word for KIRO 7. It starts on your street, in your home, with a problem you're struggling to solve. That's where KIRO 7 Investigates comes in. They show up. They ask hard questions. They get you answers. When your story is seen, change isn't just possible, it's already happening. Watch KIRO 7 News weeknights 5 to 6:30 p.m. and at KIRO7.com/investigates.
6:39. Sully, what's coming up in traffic?
Well, we're going to take a look at this crash on westbound 512 in Lakewood and also update you on the tipped-over semi right by T-Mobile Park.
The opening bell is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund.
Looking for even more Seahawks content? Subscribe to The Reset, the podcast with me, G. Scott, and Seahawks great Brandon Mebane. New episodes are out every Monday and Thursday on YouTube or subscribe on the Seattle Sports app.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, Flo here to say that Progressive knows that life can change quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, like when I have to take my ex off my policy.
Oh, sorry. But yes, we can do that.
And can you send them a message and tell them that they have trust issues that they need to work on?
We don't really get in the middle of these conflicts.
Also, can you let them know that I was faking interest in his band and it's probably time to grow up?
I'm not going to do it. Just know that with Progressive, you can easily make changes to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Also, I'm staying in touch with his mom because she's absolutely lovely.
Bad idea.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You could file your taxes on a basic free service, which is fine. But are you okay with fine? Because when it's your money on the line, do you really want to guess if you missed a credit or hope the math is right? Get the confidence of TurboTax for free right on the Intuit Credit Karma app. Free Fed and free state for simple 1040s only. Around 37% of filers qualify. See details at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for EITC, CTC, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
6:43 now. Let's check in with Sully for traffic.
And we are still seeing about a 5-minute delay on westbound 512, trying to make your way into Lakewood as you try to make your way over from Highway 7. We had a crash there that was blocking a couple of left lanes really quickly. It moved over to the right-hand shoulder, but there is some slowing approaching I-5, a little bit heavier than most days. So just keep that in mind. Once you get over to the freeway, it's a relatively normal drive. Olympia to Tacoma is only running 35 minutes, and then Federal Way to Seattle's about 45. 45 is what you need up the Valley Freeway as well. The brake lights in the usual suspect locations there. And then about 22 minutes from Renton to Bellevue, the S-curves are active, but not overly so. Across the lake, not bad. Coming down from the north end, a little over 50 minutes already to make the drive from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue. And now to our situation at T-Mobile Park. This is basically Edgar Martinez Drive right as it transitions to eastbound I-90 right there at 4th Ave. We have a semi that was going a little too fast for the corner, and it tipped over onto a double dump truck. And so we've got a lot going on right there. Not a huge issue, but if you're coming up from 1st Ave, you're going to run into this. If you normally get off at 4th Ave, say you're going northbound on 4th and you go up and get off there at Edgar Martinez, that's where you're going to see probably the bigger backup at this point. Tows are en route, but it's going to take a little while to get this thing tipped back up. Fortunately, no injuries. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
And our forecast, there's a slight chance of seeing some lingering showers this morning. Otherwise, we'll see some sunshine in 53 unless you're in the convergence zone where it's still raining this morning. A few sprinkles, a possibility for tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies by afternoon. Perfect for a Friday and 57. Oh, no, wait. Saturday through Monday, that's perfection. Mostly sunny. Up around 67 by Monday. It's 43 in Seattle right now.
Coming up, CBS White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi has the big takeaways from President Trump's primetime address last night. That's on the way here on Seattle's Morning News.
Spring is a perfect time to make improvements that protect and add value to your home. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For decades, homeowners across the Pacific Northwest have trusted our team for roofing, siding, windows, and custom decking. This spring, save up to $3,000, or qualified homeowners can take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest up to 24 months. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate.
You're losing your hair and you simply need a solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration. From the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, maybe all three like I had. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, Advanced Hair is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. Right now, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that redefined hair restoration. That's 425-449-8185. Or for the before and afters, visit advancedhair.com.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. No!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
Bringing you Seattle's morning news since 1974. This is KIRO Newsradio.
Well, what are the future plans for the U.S. and Iran? President Trump, in his primetime address last night,
we're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death.
So some mixed messages from the president in the 19-minute speech. We should break it all down now with CBS White House correspondent Olivia Rinaldi.
Olivia, what were your big takeaways from the address?
Hi, good morning. Yeah, we didn't learn much new information from the president last night in this primetime address, but really the point of it was to kind of level set with the American people, because White House advisors that I talked to say they're getting some pretty interesting feedback that is giving them concern, namely that people in polls that they have seen and the president has seen are worried about gas prices. They're worried about the economy. Fears of a recession are ticking up because of the war in Iran. So last night, the president was really trying to set expectations for how long the war could take. He said he's expecting another 2 to 3 weeks, but also added that their military is decimated. He is saying that the U.S. is close to finishing the mission, but is calling on allies to step up and help out and do more to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. So yeah, a bit of mixed messaging. There was no change in posture that we heard from the president last night as far as ground troops, as far as the expectations necessarily for how long this war could take. They've been saying it could take 4 to 6 weeks. But the reality on the ground inside of Iran and in the Strait of Hormuz is that that strait is still largely closed, and that remains really the biggest quagmire of the war so far, because that is why we are seeing oil prices tick higher, shakiness in the stock market, and why Americans at the pump are feeling the squeeze for sure. So it was a 19-minute speech. The president really walking the American public through why he felt this was necessary, going all the way back to the USS Cole and calling Iran a state sponsor of terror in the world. And therefore, he felt like he had the opportunity to take action, so he did.
Maybe we can back up for a moment, Olivia. Is it clear behind the scenes at the White House that there's any sort of strategy for this war?
Yeah, I mean, they keep repeating these 4 objectives when we ask them, what is the strategy and what is the ultimate goal? When will you know if that goal is complete? And the 4 objectives really are destroy the ballistic missile campaign, destroy their ability to wage war in the region, to make sure they never have a nuclear weapon, and to destroy their naval capacity as well. Those are the 4 things we hear about from them. So that's what the president keeps repeating. And they say they've achieved most of those objectives. The main one of those objectives being, and the reason why the president said this was so necessary, was making sure that they don't have a nuclear weapon. Let me take you back to last June when the president launched strikes against 3 of those major Iran nuclear sites inside of Iran, in Isfahan and Fordo and Natanz, to make sure that they weren't enriching uranium. Those precision strikes were supposed to make sure that Iran never got a nuclear weapon. The president said those strikes were successful. And yet here we are some 7 or so, 8 months or so later, and the president is launching full-scale war with Iran to make sure that they don't have a nuclear weapon. So the messaging has been inconsistent from the start.
Olivia, at one point the president said we don't need the Strait of Hormuz to open. He said something to the effect of it will open naturally when this is all over. Can you expound on that?
Well, we are asking what naturally could mean in this moment, because Iran has shown no signs of wanting to reopen the strait. It is their biggest bargaining chip in this moment. This is the reason why they have an ability, they're holding something over the United States' head. The president is trying to downplay the impacts of the Strait of Hormuz, saying that the U.S. really doesn't get a lot of energy through there. So therefore, the countries that do, such as European countries, Asian countries, should really step up and manage the strait. However, this is a war of the president's creation along with Israel, and they launched the strikes, and countries seem unwilling to do anything to reopen the strait, including some countries that are part of NATO. And that's where the president has really been voicing his frustration, saying that they should step up, have courage, is what he said to them. He said that they should all pitch in to take over the strait, but there is really no plan from the U.S. at this moment to reopen it, unless one thing they could do is start guiding these ships through the strait to make sure that Iran's military capacity is so diminished that even if they did launch a missile, the U.S. Navy would be there and be able to shoot it down and allow some of these ships to transit through the strait. It's been done before. It was done in the 80s by the United States, but it was a costly and a long campaign, over a year that took.
Just a couple seconds remaining here, but it sounds to me like we're either going to escalate and have a heavier military involvement, or we're going to pull out in a couple weeks, and it's not clear where the president stands on that. Am I reading this right?
You are reading that right. That is correct. There are plenty of options still on the table for the president in this moment. We are seeing that with the fact that there are more members of the military of all branches that are either heading to the Middle East, to that region, or have already arrived, including Marines, Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, and all options remain on the table. This White House is not saying, we're winding down or anything like that. We have not heard those words in the last, 24 hours or so with the messaging from the White House. So there's a couple things on the table. The president could decide to go into Iran to take that enriched uranium, which would be a long, costly campaign and require a lot of engineering feats to do so because it is dangerous. He could take Karg Island, which is their main oil depot, or he could have all these troops built up and say, all right, we accomplished our mission, and have them come home and just see what the fallout would be. Again, there's a lot of political pressure on this White House right now, so it'll be interesting to see what the president decides in the next 2 weeks.
We'll see, Olivia. Thanks so much. CBS White House correspondent Olivia Rinaldi.
Let's head over to Sully for traffic.
And we are dealing with a relatively normal Thursday commute now that we're through most of the rain, except in the north end. We've got about an hour drive now from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue. And
it's a reminder that, yes, it doesn't get there very often, and only when it really has to.
$15 coming down out of Linwood on 405. Valley Freeway, under 50 minutes, which is good. And we're under a half an hour from Renton to Bellevue. We've got about 45 from Federal Way to Seattle. The one issue that we need to keep an eye on is if you're getting off from 4th Ave to Edgar Martinez or coming up from First up by Edgar Martinez, we've got a tipped over semi there west on eastbound I-90 there right past 4th Ave that is really causing some problems on that ramp. We'll watch it closely, but not having a huge impact as of yet. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. Download the Seattle Sports app and stay in the know with the latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite teams.
Mix of showers and sun for today, 53, improving weather as we head into the weekend. Right now it is cloudy and 43 in Seattle.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO Newsradio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO Newsradio app.
Need some TLC for your hybrid or EV? A&M Auto Repair in Bellevue gives you fast, cost-effective, guaranteed service. Go to myevpros.com or call 425-96-EV-FIX. A&M Auto Repair treats you fair and square.
The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day for baseball.
At T-Mobile Park, you've always got the best seat in the house. Case in point, your ticket might be for the view level, but it's more like Skyline City. Up here, it's hard to say what'll take your breath away first. The gorgeous Seattle sunsets or the spectacular views of every incredible play. If you like value with a view, it's the perfect place to take quality time with the family to a whole new level. Literally.
A bases clearing, 3-run double. Everybody on their feet here at T-Mobile Park.
Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
The Mariners are back in town starting April 10th for a 4-game series against the Houston Astros. It all starts with Ichiro Replica Statue Night on Friday the 10th, presented by BDA. The first 40,000 fans take home this must-have collectible, with 20 scoring one signed by Ichiro himself. Get your tickets at mariners.com.
Owie, wowie!
Joey!
What's with the...
Water heater's worn out.
Way less hot water?
Takes a lot longer, too.
Sounds like a goner.
Worst of all?
What?
Wasn't planning on it.
We can help.
Apollo Plumbing.
Ready right now to get you...
in hot water.
Same day.
Not this day. My budget.
How about with easy payments?
How much easy?
Around $50 a month with approved credit.
A new water heater?
50 gallons of 100% hot water delight.
For about $50 a month.
51, 52 to be precise.
And you can do it
today, if that's what you need.
Is it ever?
Apollo installs new ones with code upgrades.
Can't beat that.
Actually, I can.
What?
Your same-day water heater replacement includes Wrenchie's worry-free warranty.
Which means?
Apollo Plumbing covers your new water heater for life.
You mean should it ever wear out?
Apollo Plumbing replaces it free.
And if it needs service?
Service is included for our A-list members.
Wow!
Your new water heater is ready
right now
at ApolloPlumbing.com.
Hey, it's John Curley with my friend Bob Stelton. Hey, Bob, you had a hip issue just like me. You went to see Dr. Mark Wagner at Seattle Sports Regenerative Medicine. What did he tell you?
You got a torn labrum, you got a frayed ligament, you've got arthritis developing. He said, this isn't going to fix everything, but it will go a long way. I was walking around at about an 8 pain level. I couldn't walk that far before the pain would kick in, and it was impacting my workouts and just really impacting my day-to-day stuff beyond jiu-jitsu.
So, just like me, Dr. Wagner does stem cell on your hip. How you feeling now?
I feel like I've gotten back to being who I was prior to the injuries, which was somebody who's very active, loves being out there outside when the weather's great, being on the motorcycle, sparring in jiu-jitsu, working out. I can do all of those things now.
So whether it's a shoulder, a hip, a wrist, knee, or elbow, before you choose surgery, see our friend, Dr. Wagner first. He'll tell you if stem cell is right for you. drmarkwagnermd.com. Make an appointment at drmarkwagnermd.com.
April is a great time to grow your connection to nature. From native fir trees in your backyard to a thriving patch of flowers or a walk through your local arboretum, Sky Nursery supports your gardening journey with quality plants, supplies, and local knowledge. Visit nursery.com.
Everyday students stay after school for sports, clubs, and tutoring, many on empty stomachs. Safeway and Champions of Change offer grants for after-school meal programs. Schools must apply by April 8th at championsofchangefoundation.org and click Nourishing Champions.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The 4-person crew of the Artemis II woke up to the sounds of Young and Six Sleepyhead, then wasted no time getting down to business in their first full day of what they hope will be a historic mission around the far side of the moon. Correspondent Mark Strassman is at Kennedy Space Center.
They're especially focused on testing the life support systems. Without that, obviously, you've got major problems. But they need a series of systems, checks, and tests to convince NASA that they are safe now to make the push for the moon.
Last night, President Trump told the American people the administration's objectives in the Iran war have already been met or exceeded. He also said the U.S. will continue to hit hard for another few weeks. CBS's Holly Williams has gotten reaction from Iran.
That Iranian spokesman claimed that the U.S. and Israel have not destroyed Iran's missile production centers, long-range attack drones and advanced air defense systems, asserting that they are in locations that the U.S. and Israel cannot reach.
Lawmakers in the House convened for 2 minutes today, but took no action to pass a bipartisan funding deal to reopen DHS operations.
In a joint statement, House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune say they have agreed on a plan to fully fund the Department of Homeland Security, except for ICE and Customs and U.S. Border Patrol. Republicans will try to fund those agencies later through reconciliation, which they could do without Senate Democrats, who are demanding reforms to immigration enforcement. The Senate could vote on the deal as early as today. The House is in recess until April 13th. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
DNA testing has linked another murder, this one in Utah, to serial killer Ted Bundy. CBS's Matt Gutman.
One of his victims was Laura Ann Amy. She disappeared in 1974 after a Halloween party. About a month later, the 17-year-old's bound and beaten body was discovered on the side of a highway. Investigators have long suspected Bundy was responsible for her death, and now, more than 50 years later, they can prove it.
We now have definitive evidence proving that Theodore Ted Bundy murdered Laura, and we can announce that this case is officially closed.
This is Holy Thursday.
Signore sia con voi.
Pope Leo celebrating Mass of the Last Supper at the Basilica of St. John the Lateran in Rome. The Pope will also wash the feet of 12 people in a reenactment of Jesus washing the disciples' feet. Oil prices soar 13%, Dow's down 507. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Mornings. This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
7:03 now. Chris Sullivan is watching traffic.
And we've settled into a pretty normal Thursday across the board. One little exception I'll get to in a moment because of the impact there isn't super. But coming down from the north end, we are looking at a very heavy drive, but nothing you haven't gotten used to. We're getting closer to 50 minutes away from Linwood on both 5 and 405. 405 starting right there as you get away from Linwood all the way through 522 before breaking up, and then for I-5, it's really from about 145th on down. So give yourself over an hour and 10 minutes from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue. Olympia to Tacoma, no problems for you guys, about a 35-minute trip. Still have a little westbound slowing on 512, approaching I-5, crash over on the right shoulder, no longer blocking. Then Federal Way to Seattle, 45 minutes. We're under 50 from Puyallup to Renton, and then Renton to Bellevue is about 25 to 28 minutes. Now to our issue that's causing slowing right around the stadium district and primarily right there at T-Mobile Park. What we have is right where for the transition from Edgar Martinez to I-90, just there at 4th Ave, we have a semi that didn't negotiate that curve very well and tipped over right onto a double dump truck. And so most of that ramp there in that area is blocked. And so we are seeing a backup on Edgar Martinez down to First Ave, kind of slow in both directions. And then northbound 4th Ave is really heavy as you're trying to make your way up. A lot of people who get off there and use Edgar Martinez to get down into the downtown core, not exactly your best option. You may want to use First, or to be honest, jump up to Airport Way and work your way around it that way. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Live from East Lake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Good morning. It's 7:04. There's a growing fight in Olympia. Governor Bob Ferguson has vetoed retail crime funding.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is here to tell us critics now warn this decision could make things worse.
Yeah, the governor announced his veto just yesterday, removing $500,000 to fight retail theft. And he did it right before he signed the state's supplemental operating budget.
If we have a proposal to do something in our budget, we've got to have the funding to do it. When there was not funding provided and agencies could not absorb the costs, I had to veto those programs.
Back in 2024, Forbes called Washington the #1 state in the nation for retail theft. Businesses have lost somewhere around $2.5 billion, according to experts, and the state has lost more than $600 million in taxes because of retail theft. That's why State Rep Mari Levitt, who is a Democrat, says she is now deeply disappointed and puzzled by the governor's move. Last year, with the governor's support, she helped launch a retail theft pilot program that was successful. From January to June last year, King County prosecutors filed some 142 retail theft cases, which is 2.5 times more than the average across the past 4 years. Well, yesterday at that budget meeting, or signing, I should say, bill signing, the governor stuck to his guns, explaining why he needed to make the cut in the first place.
Our state agencies are taking another $1 billion in reductions after already taking significant cuts last session. Our state employees, once again, are being asked to do more with less. Consequently, we have limited ability to absorb additional work for expenses that are not funded in the budget.
You know, retail theft led to the closing of 2 Fred Meyer locations up in Everett and in Kent. Levitt said on social media, when stores close, it often causes food deserts in neighborhoods for folks. And she says that veto could now put small businesses and the public's safety at risk. Charlie, Manda?
Luke Ducey reporting live. It's 7:06.
The top budget writer for House Democrats in Olympia is calling it quits. Spokane State Representative Tim Ormsby says he won't seek re-election. Ormsby shared the news yesterday just after the governor signed that supplemental budget he helped write. He's represented the 3rd legislative district since 2003.
Supporters of a new law that sets higher standards for law enforcement leaders cheered as Governor Ferguson signed the law a bill into law yesterday. But local law enforcement says it's bad policy. Here's KIRO's John Repp.
While Governor Ferguson applauded the goal of Senate Bill 5974,
Sheriffs and police chiefs should be held to the same standards as their own officers and deputies. They should be certified and have law enforcement experience, pass a background check, and have a clean criminal history.
The News Tribune reports that Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank and Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders are calling it an overreach, concerned that the law sets the stage for state authorities to decertify and remove elected sheriffs they don't like. John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
A man has died in a confrontation with Snohomish County Sheriff's deputies. We get more from KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery.
Investigators say this started as a disturbance at a home near Martha Lake Park in Linwood Wednesday evening. Reports said a man had a gun, but it's not exactly clear what led deputies to pull out their weapons. The man died at the scene, according to reports from law enforcement. Nobody else was injured. A multi-agency investigation is taking place. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Keeping you informed since 1974.
This is the city's longest-running radio news show.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO News Radio.
Haven't heard this one in a long time. Thanks, Nick.
Stop making sense, Nick. 7:08 here on Seattle's Morning News. That is Nick Cretia, who is picking the music and running the board for us. I'm Charlie Harger, and you're Manda Factor.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Chris Sullivan is keeping an eye on traffic, and producer David Burbank is with us. And Sully, you have a choke point coming up, right?
Yeah, I do. Almost forgot. With all the excitement. There's big doings going on. They're finishing up the SR 18 I-90 interchange there in Snoqualmie, but like everything this time of year, it's weather dependent.
Also in the 7:35 commentary, why is Seattle leadership turning a blind eye to the drug devastation taking place in the city's parks? I'll explore that coming up at 7:35.
Also, Luke Ducey has an important tech talk today. He's going to go in depth on the landmark lawsuit that was filed against a couple of social media giants, why the plaintiffs in that case are warning of the dangers of platforms like Meta and YouTube.
It's 7:09 now. U.S. Marshals arrested a Seattle homicide suspect who was mistakenly released from a California jail last fall. Here's KIRO News Radio's James Lynch.
Isaiah Andrews was wanted in connection with a deadly shooting in Seattle's Northgate neighborhood last year. Police say the shooting killed a 20-year-old man in a hotel parking lot. Andrews was arrested in California 3 days later, but jail staff in Contra Costa County mistakenly released him. He's been on the run ever since. Today, U.S. Marshals arrested Andrews in St. Louis, Missouri. He's now expected to be extradited back to Seattle to face a first-degree murder charge. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Another police agency is deactivating their automatic license plate readers. The Spokane County Sheriff is the latest, following the Pierce County Sheriff. They say a new bill signed into law this week makes it impossible for them to comply with rules banning the camera's use within 500 feet of protected locations like schools and hospitals. Pierce County Sheriff said the same thing. Both were concerned their deputies could face criminal charges, which are part of the new rules. Many people know the cameras known as flock license plate readers mounted on telephone poles, but some police agencies have the same kind of cameras mounted on their cars and get alerts on plates wanted in association with crimes.
As fans head to Seattle for the World Cup this summer, federal drug enforcement agents say they'll be watching. KIRO 7's Madeline Ottilie spoke with Robert Saccone, the special agent in charge of the DEA Seattle's field division, about their work they're doing now to disrupt supply of fentanyl ahead of the event.
The drug is primarily produced in Mexico using chemicals coming from China. Chemicals the DEA says are getting harder to get.
We're doing a good job of applying pressure on them, and so you're seeing that reduction in the purity of the drug.
That decline in the purity of fentanyl might be part of the reason overdose deaths have dropped in King County. Plus, locally, fentanyl seizures are up too.
The local DEA office seized approximately 25 million doses of fentanyl last year.
There was a lot of excitement at the Museum of Flight in Seattle, where hundreds of people joined to watch the launch of Artemis II. KIRO 7 TV's Brandon Thompson has more.
We saw families of all ages here, adults who watched Apollo missions from generations ago. They wanted to bring the kids in to watch this for the first time, one of the first missions that they have seen.
Are you excited to be here?
Yeah.
What makes you so excited?
Well, that they were going to go around the moon.
I've always really loved space history. I think that it's very exciting to hear about creativity and exploration.
More than 40 Washington companies are involved in this.
What was he excited about?
They're going around the moon.
Okay,
I'm excited.
Those aerospace companies include Boeing, L3 Harris in Redmond, and Karman Space and Defense in Mukilteo. Boy, what a moment that was yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. We watched that. live in the living room. I had my 13-year-old son with me. Just
too.
So cool. All right. It is 7:12. Let's head over to Nick Allard from KIRO 7 TV, taking a look at the forecast. We're going around the moon, Nick.
We're going around the moon. It's fantastic. I was staring at the screen like you wouldn't believe yesterday. It was awesome. This morning, we still have some pockets of rain, especially around, say, like Snohomish County, for example. That's the place where it's the wettest right now. I do expect, though, that'll just be around for the morning hours, and then we're going to find some drier conditions later today. Just a few pockets of showers here and there later. But, yeah, it's pretty wet up there now. It's just the weakening Puget Sound convergence zone. We'll look for temps in the 50s, mostly cloudy skies, and, yes, it will be drier there later today. Just a few showers. Tomorrow, you have a little bit of rain closer to the Canadian border and at the coast in the morning, and then it's drier in the afternoon with some sun breaks in the upper 50s, so pretty much an average day. Then low 60s Saturday, low to mid 60s for Easter Sunday, mid to upper 60s for Monday. Sullivan, what's the high again for Monday?
6-7.
Yep, it's 67 degrees. And he has been clamoring for this for years. He started the trend back in the 80s, and it just finally picked up. We had it at that conference in Miami. It was a big one. Then by Tuesday, we're going to see more clouds and some late day showers, and then into Wednesday, it'll be back into the 50s. But for now, we got some 60s, and it sounds amazing.
Right now in Seattle.
I killed it. But you know what? At least I'm consistent.
Yeah. No, I wasn't distracted by watching the rocket take off on TV. Why would I be?
Of course not.
Right now in Seattle, thank you, Nick, it is 43 and cloudy.
And it's 7:13. Time for traffic. We do that every 10 minutes on the ththrees. Take it away, Sully.
All right, we've got an update on our tipped-over semi on eastbound I-90 right there at basically 4th Ave, right at the base, the right field line for T-Mobile Park. They have now closed eastbound 90 right there because they've got the tows in there. They got to get this thing righted. It also landed on a double dump truck, by the way. And so what we have now is if you're heading east on Edgar Martinez, you can't continue over to I-90 or to the downtown CD lanes. You're being exited southbound 4th Ave. For people who coming off at 4th, coming southbound, you can't take a left to get onto eastbound I-90 or to I-5. So we're watching that one closely. This is definitely starting to see some localized slowing in and around SoDo, 4th Ave, 1st Ave. They're all kind of caught up in this. Now to the freeways, a relatively average day out there. That means it's really slow away from away from I-5, coming down 405. It's a 50-minute trip from Linwood to Bellevue, about 45 from Linwood to Seattle. There's also a little bit of a slowing through Marysville and across the trestle. Still have some rain up there to deal with. Rest of the map, as I said, right, not too bad. Federal Way to Seattle, 45 minutes. Under 45 from Puyallup to Renton. The Valley Freeway actually really behaving today. Not quite a half an hour from Renton to Bellevue. The Lake Bridges are fine. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan. I'm their conduit, and I'm glad to do it.
Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Hey, oh, let's go.
Now, Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
Presented by Carter Subaru.
Well, spring in the Northwest can be beautiful, but it can also be wet and nasty.
Yep, that's why it's so difficult to plan major construction projects this time of year. The State Department of Transportation hopes to finish up one of the biggest projects over the next few months, but contractors are working at the whim of the weather.
Whim. Here is Sully with all the details.
Striping, final paving can be very difficult to get done at this time of year. Contractors need warmer and drier weather to put the finishing touches on projects. That's why WashDOT is spending so much time with its meteorologists, like our good friend Nick Allard, while trying to finish the new interchange at I-90 and SR-18 and the 2 miles of widening to the south. Here's WashDOT's Marcus Humberg.
Weather is just a constantly shifting target. We've already had to shift the first weekend worth of work that was going to be April 2nd. Now it's looking at April 9th if the weather holds out.
So the work was supposed to start tonight, as we heard there from Marcus. The contractor opened the new interchange last summer, which we talked about, and then they opened in the widening on SR-18 a few months later. We talked about that. Now it's time for all the final little stuff. You know, when you build a house or you do a remodel, you do all the hard stuff, you do the demo, you do everything, and then it's those final little finishing touches, putting on the crown molding, putting everything down. That's the kind of work that needs to be done now.
Yes, we were able to open the DDI. Yes, we were able to open the widening. No, we don't have that top layer of asphalt, that final driving wear surface that goes on top.
So they have to finish the paving and they have to finish the striping. WashDOT's Humberg says the contractor needs several extended weekend closures to put a bow on the project.
3 extended full weekend closures, one eastbound, one westbound, one full closure underneath I-90, and then we will have 4 weekend closures of a ramp each. And then we'll come back with one more weekend closure to stripe the whole project.
So the first full weekend closure is expected to begin next Thursday, April 9th. This closure will be in the eastbound direction, meaning drivers will not be able to go east of SR 18 from the Issaquah-Hobart Road. So, Charlie, if you were in town and Sam had a baseball tournament, say, in Ellensburg, and you were coming up from the valley, I'm saying you wouldn't be able to go directly there. That's the situation you're going to deal with. Everyone's going to be diverted off at the Issaquah-Hobart Road.
If folks are trying to head on eastbound 18 during that closure, they will be forced to exit at Issaquah-Hobart Road, and then trucks will likely be turned around because they're not supposed to head down that road.
The primary trucking detour is on our major freeways. That's up 405 to I-90. They want to keep those big rigs off of the Issaquah-Hobart Road. The goal here is to have all of this work finished by the end of the school year.
We're hoping, as long as the weather holds out, that we'll have a good roadway ready to open up for the summer travel season.
Now, as we look forward to this project wrapping up, we should be planning for the next phase of work on the corridor. But that's not going to happen for a while. WashDOT was expected to take about a year off on this corridor and then start the SR 18 widening from where it ends now across Tiger Mountain down to Issaquah-Hobart Road, basically to provide more capacity over what is kind of a daily choke point up there. WashDOT was expected, as I said, to take about a year off, but Humberg tells me that the project has been pushed by our good friends at the legislature.
They delayed the SR 18 widening, the funding for it, until the 2029-2030 biennium. So that's when we're going to potentially see more work on the SR 18 corridor.
So now construction may not work until until when that project was supposed to actually be finished.
So it's just on hold?
Yeah, the legislature, every time they redo the budget, they look at the supplemental, they move money around. And usually what happens is if your corridor got some money right now, you kind of go to the bottom of the list, even though it was scheduled to begin in a year. They pushed it off another biennium. So that means we're going to be stuck on that. We're not going to get what we need there until later. Obviously, there's so many projects they need to push the money. So that's the legislature does that, and that's what happened last session. So as for this work, we'll be watching the weather with WashDOT as it tries to finish the current work, and we'll let you know if work's a go or when it's postponed. But right now, we're on schedule for a week from tonight for a 4-day full closure of eastbound 18 from Issaquah-Hobart up to I-90.
So 93 years from now, when this project is done, is the idea that there are going to be 2 lanes in both directions?
Correct.
And there's a barrier all the way through?
Correct. That's the plan, is to try to make sure we double the capacity, and then we've built the 2 new bridges there over the creeks on the east side of the slope. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they'll probably have to do something on that on the west side, but then to have 2 lanes all the way, basically, to get you from the valley basically at S167 all the way to I-90, 2 lanes the whole way with the climbing lanes. So that's the plan. But now, as we found out, it's going to be delayed a little bit, but at least this first little bit has been very helpful. Especially on those afternoons on Saturdays and Sundays when people are heading back westbound.
We may have flying cars by the time this is done, making the whole point moot.
Well, it's possible. I mean, it's also possible we might have light rail to West Seattle by then. What do you say, 93 years?
That's kind of crazy talk, Sully.
Did you say 93 years? 83 years. Oh, yeah. But no, work's happening. We're waiting on the weather.
All right. This is all up at mynorthwest.com.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we are keeping our close eyes on the markets today. They opened sharply down. S&P 500 sank 1.7% at the bell. The Dow Jones dropped 797 points as the trading day began. CBS's Jill Schlesinger tells us the market sank on disappointment after President Trump's address last night to the nation when he did not announce a clear-cut end to the war against Iran, adding to concern about rising prices on just about everything.
We feel pessimistic. We feel scared. We just had this inflationary surge in 2022. Are we going back there? These are the emotional aspects that can actually impact not just what we do at the pump, not just what we do at the grocery store, but how we feel about the economy and our actions otherwise. And I think sometimes, again, we have to acknowledge that the emotional part of this is going to get worse as the conflict continues.
We have recovered a little bit on Wall Street. The Dow is still down, but only 405 points right now at 46,160. S&P 500 is down 41. The NASDAQ is down about 185.
Well, the torpedo bat was introduced to the baseball world last year. Proponents hailed the design as a potential game changer. But KIRO's John Repp tells us after extensive testing, local researchers say it's just another bat.
First introduced by the New York Yankees and picked up by Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh during his historic 60-home-run season, the torpedo bat's redesign was new and exciting. So Washington State University researchers started studying them, conducting the first-ever lab experiments. What they found was actually pretty ordinary, learning that torpedo bats and conventional bats do equally well when it comes to hitting power. The only difference is the location of the bat's sweet spot. Lloyd Smith, who directs the school's sports science laboratory, has been studying bats for decades, and he says there's only so much you can do with a wooden bat design. John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
It gave us something to talk about anyway.
Yeah, but what about the light bat?
That's my favorite bat of all time. Thank you, Gar.
So wait a minute. A bat company sold something so you could spend more on the new. When does that ever happen to travel baseball? I
no.
gotta get that new Easton. Gotta get that new Easton. Oh, there's a new grip. Oh, there's a new thing.
Yeah.
When does that ever happen?
Charlie knows all about this stuff.
I think it happens all the time, Sully.
I need to go buy a new driver because I'm sure my game. It's like, when does this ever happen for a golf company? Never. Who does that?
7:23 now.
Sorry.
We check traffic on the threes with Chris Sullivan.
Can't buy a better game. But boy, torpedo bat sounded cool. When's the missile bat coming out? Nothing?
How's the traffic?
Okay. Well, this is my last day to give Charlie grief because he's going on vacation. Here's the situation we have in the Soto Stadium District area. We have a semi that was heading eastbound on I-90 and pulling away from Edgar Martinez, and it didn't negotiate that sweeping left-hand corner, and it tipped over onto a double dump truck. So they have closed basically what is I-90 right there at Edgar Martinez so they can get those big toes in there, try to get this thing righted. So we have a big time slowing on Edgar Martinez. We have slowing on First Ave, slowing on Fourth Ave as people trying to negotiate their way around that. Airport Way is probably a pretty good option if you're heading through Soto and you're trying to get around the stadiums. That's where I might head at this particular moment. Rest of the map, not bad. I mean, we have the brake lights right where they should be. We're under 50 minutes from Federal Way to Seattle, even though we have a 30-minute trip from South Center, really slow past the West Seattle Bridge. West Seattle Bridge itself, eastbound, is also seeing kind of the normal day there. About a half an hour from Renton to Bellevue. Valley Freeway, though, is relatively quiet, under 45 minutes, which is really good at this time of day. Olympia to Tacoma, no problems. Lake Bridges are fine. Little slowing on southbound 5 in Marysville, westbound 2 across the Trestle, backing up into Lake Stevens, and then you've got about an hour drive from Everett to Seattle, about an hour and 10 from Everett to Bellevue. KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Slight chance of some showers today, but other than that, we're going to be drying out and seeing some sunshine. 53 today. Tomorrow, nice, partly sunny and 57. Saturday through Monday, lots of sunshine. 67 on Monday. Right now in Seattle, cloudy skies and 43. Coming up, KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey has reaction from lawmakers to President Trump's primetime address. And in Charlie's 7:35 commentary, how city leadership is allowing our parks to become fentanyl graveyards. It's 7:25.
Now, a word for the team at Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000, there's one thing you can do right now that could make your savings go twice as far in retirement. Tax planning. The right tax planning can significantly reduce what you owe on your IRA and 401k withdrawals, your Social Security benefits, your investment income. And not just for 1 year, for the rest of your life. The savings could be six figures. The team at Boss Retirement Solutions wants to show you exactly how much. Schedule your free retirement tax savings analysis. Call 206-210-1350. One thing could change everything. Boss Retirement Solutions, 206-210-1350.
For informational purposes only, actual results may vary. No statement contained herein shall constitute tax, legal, or investment advice.
This hour is brought to you by CM Heating.
KIRO News Radio, the first place you turn for the news you trust.
ICE agents have now been deployed to 14 airports across the country.
Traffic.
Did they open lanes?
They just reopened all lanes of northbound I-5.
Engaging conversation.
If he ends this right now, it only emboldens Iran. That's a big, big mistake.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
A one-hander! JSN!
Always here, always with you. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
At Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation, we understand improving your home is an investment in your family, and we're here to help make it easier. With our flexible financing, keeping your family safe, comfortable, and dry has never been more affordable. For more than 20 years, Guardian has earned the trust of thousands of homeowners across the Pacific Northwest with a reputation for quality that lasts. So why wait? Start guarding your home today. Call or visit guardianroofing.com.
Make this spring even sweeter with healthy saltwater soaks in a hot spring spa. During Olympic Sweet Spring Savings Event, save up to $3,000 on the hot tub of your dreams. Ends April 14th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Doctors King and Kopstein from K2 Vision.
If you're over 50 and you've been diagnosed with a cataract, or your vision is changing as you're developing an early cataract, you could be a perfect candidate for K2 Vision RLE.
It's inevitable. At some point, typically in your 60s or 70s, you'll have a dysfunctional lens that eventually becomes a cataract. To restore your vision, you will someday need a procedure such as refractive lens exchange.
The question is, are you done with glasses? Do you want to spend your good, active years hassling with changing prescriptions and needing readers?
K2 Vision RLE can give you great vision now, permanently, and you'll never develop that cataract. The procedure is quick and painless.
They know when it's your right time for RLE. Schedule your free Zoom consult today at k2visionrle.com. K2 Vision RLE. No readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY. We now have over 500 five-star online reviews. Bradley Johnson helped me out of a very difficult situation. Their professionalism and knowledge resulted in an outcome I wouldn't have thought possible. They were steady and reassuring, taking time to explain things clearly. They never rushed me, even when I had a million questions. In the end, they found a resolution I'm grateful for. They were a pleasure to work with. I was impressed with their knowledge and skill, ultimately winning my case. 10 out of 10. I would highly recommend. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or Google us to schedule your free private consultation. 5 stars means achieving your best possible outcome. 1-800-DUI-AWAY. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
The deadline for filing taxes is coming up. Donate your car to Cars for Kids for a 2026 tax deduction. Go to carsforkids.org today. That's cars with a K.
Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Live from East Lake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Good morning. It is 7:31. President Donald Trump is getting a lot of praise from Republicans after his televised update on the Iran war last night.
But local Democratic lawmakers are giving his speech a big thumbs down. They are calling for an end to the war.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is here with more reaction.
The ranking Democrats in the House Armed Services Committee, including Adam Smith, are now demanding Trump negotiate a diplomatic end to the war. In a statement on social media, they said it's the only plausible way to end his, quote, catastrophic war. While Representative Susan Delbany reacted to this declaration from Trump, she says the president has no goals and no strategy and that Washingtonians are now paying the price.
We are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
On the other side, a lot of Republicans loved the president's speech. Senator Lindsey Graham calls the war in Iran, quote, one of the most successful military operations in history. At one point, the president said in his speech over the next 2 to 3 weeks, the U.S. was going to bring Iran back to the Stone Ages, where they belong. Senator Patty Murray says on social media the president wants to spend more money on wars than child care and health care here in the Pacific Northwest. We also heard from folks heading to work this morning. These were a couple of commuters in the nation's capital where that speech was made.
I'm just a regular citizen getting up, going to work every day, and it's affecting my life. So I think, yes, it doesn't make any sense what's going on. But, yeah, overall, I just don't like Trump.
I think we're in the right place at the right time, doing the best we can with what we have. I'm trying to get our allies to step up and do what they need to be doing.
And when it comes to the world's oil supply, Trump says our NATO allies can buy oil from us or
build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before, should have done it with us as we asked. Go to the strait and just take it.
Charlie and Amanda, mostly the reaction that we're seeing this morning is based on political lines, which way people are on that political scale. As you might imagine, we'll see what more and more people say throughout the morning.
Luke Ducey reporting live. A shooting involving deputies in Snohomish County has triggered a multi-agency investigation. Here's KIRO Newsradio's Jillian Raftery.
This happened in Linwood near Martha Lake Park around 5 p.m. Wednesday. Deputies say they got a call about some sort of disturbance at a home and were told that a man had a gun. Very few details have been released at this moment, but shots were fired. A suspect was hit. Investigators say they tried to save him, but he died at the scene. No deputies were hurt. Mukilteo police will lead an outside investigation to avoid conflicts of interest. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
It's 7:33 and time for a check on traffic. We do that every 10 minutes for you. What do you see, Sully?
Well, I see a relatively normal drive, though Matt tells us it is raining on the east side as well, in addition to kind of up in the convergence zone. So just know that we're kind of working our way through the tail end of this storm, and so your conditions might vary no matter where you're going, or depending on where you're going, I should say. If you're coming down from the north end, definitely seeing a very tough day coming down on a Linwood on 405. We've got about an hour and 20-minute trip from Everett to Bellevue, with an hour of that just from Linwood. 10 minutes faster on the I-5 corridor. You're really not going to hit the brakes much at all till you get inside of 175th down across the Ship Canal Bridge. Northbound I-5, Olympia to Tacoma, no problems. Tacoma itself is quiet, minus a little eastbound slowing on 16 past Cheney Stadium. And then Federal Way to Seattle's about 50 minutes. We have some pretty heavy traffic on northbound I-5 now past the West Seattle Bridge, kind of beginning at the beginnings of Boeing Field. This might actually be kind of a reaction to what we have up at the Stadium District, where we have a tipped over semi right there where Edgar Martinez transitions to eastbound I-90. And so that ramp is blocked. So we're seeing a lot of heavy slowing on northbound 4th, northbound 1st. Airport Way is the way to go if you want to get around this as they continue to right that semi. By the way, it tipped over on a double dump truck. Across the lake, no problems. Rented to Bellevue about 35 minutes. Valley Freeway actually behaving really nicely, under 45. This report brought to you by the Seattle Mariners. Ichiro replica statue night, Friday, April 10th. Don't miss out. Get your tickets, mariners.com.
For most of us, just a slight chance of showers for today with some sunshine. But again, we are seeing some heavy rain in the convergence zone and now on the east side too. 53 the high for today. Tomorrow, just the threat of a few sprinkles, nothing major. 57, we'll see sunshine by the end of the day and then into a really nice stretch of weather Saturday through Monday. Lots of sunshine. 67 the high on Monday. Right now in Seattle, it's cloudy and 43.
Seattle's morning news. Hear it live, stream it online, watch the show, or catch the podcast anytime. Seattle's morning news, wherever you are.
Time for the 7:35 commentary. Kevin has lived on Beacon Hill for more than 20 years. He emailed me after a recent commentary and asked me to come see what had happened to his neighborhood. What he didn't know is that I had already been there 3 times before he reached out. Last week was my 4th visit in 4 months, and it keeps getting worse there. 4 parks on the north end of Beacon Hill, Dr. Jose Rizal, Lewis, Sturgis, and Daejeon, sit adjacent to Pacific Medical Center, that Art Deco building that once served as Amazon's first headquarters. The picnic shelter at Rizal, where families used to barbecue and take in one of the best views of the city, had to be torn down since my last visit. It was beyond saving. The pagoda at Daejeon Park, a gift from the nation of South Korea, is heading in that same direction. Someone's living in it now. But the city is building all-gender restrooms nearby, so progress. Last week, in the middle of a Wednesday afternoon, I walked past groups of men smoking fentanyl in the open at Rizal Park. Not hidden, not at the tree line, right on the path. I walked through the smoke. Foil everywhere, human waste on walking paths, dozens of tents, a man screaming in what sounded like full psychosis, an open campfire, men glaring at anyone who didn't belong. And the families who live in the homes surrounding the parks definitely don't belong. People have been threatened in their own driveways. Neighbors have had their porches defecated on. Families stopped using these parks months ago. Kevin described watching cars pull up at all hours. People walk in, stay a few minutes, walk back out. Open dealing in the middle of a Wednesday afternoon with no apparent concern about who's watching.
We're at a loss. We felt helpless, hopeless. It's like we have to just live with this chaos.
Here's what the city refuses to understand. When you concentrate addiction in one place and remove all consequences for using in public, you don't stabilize anything. You make it worse. Michael Schellenberger laid this out in his book, San Francisco, and Lewis Park is a case study. Open scenes act as magnets. Dealers operate with no fear. Supply stays cheap and constant. Users choose tents in these parks over shelters specifically because these parks let them keep using. More users draw more dealers. More dealers draw more users. The scene feeds itself. Schellenberger calls harm reduction, as practiced in these scenes, harm induction. The city hands out supplies, cleans up occasionally, and waits. Treatment is technically available, but only if someone in full-blown fentanyl addiction asks for it first. Nobody from the city walks through Lewis Park and proactively says, "You need help. We can get you into detox today." The city waits to be asked by people who, by definition, are not in a condition to ask. The city swept Lewis Park in November, now worse than before they touched it. Cities that have actually broken up scenes like this, in Amsterdam, in Zurich, did it through enforcement, relocation, and access to mandatory treatment. They made it harder to stay sick in public. We are doing the opposite. We are making it easier. Kevin tells me he's emailed his council member 4 times, the mayor's office. His neighbors have done the same. They hear nothing back. He eventually emailed me because he'd run out of options. I asked him what he'd say to people in neighborhoods where this hasn't happened yet.
Scariest thing you can hear somebody say in Seattle is, "We're going to be able to park by you." Because this is what it turns into. Yeah.
City is turning a blind eye to this, and North Beacon Hill is paying the price. That's the 735 commentary for April 2nd, 2026. Text your thoughts to the Muckleshoot Casino and Resort text line, 888-973-5476. You can join the live chat on the KIRO Newsradio YouTube live feed, or you can leave a comment at mynorthwest.com.
It's 7:40. Sully, what do you have for us in traffic?
Well, I'm looking for a new crash on northbound I-5 as you get to the top of the Boeing Field area. We'll break it down for you next.
Hi, running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You need a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. Switch today. Get started with a great offer as low as $60 a month. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Offer ends 6/1/26. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet and security edge. 1-year agreement, eco-bill, and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
Washington's lottery gives out a lot of green to winners in schools and retailers awesomely. Nearly 600 mil to people that play. Another 180 mil to vocational training and education from preschool to college. Now you got the knowledge, a win-win for all of us. Play Washington's lottery, lottery, lottery. Play Washington's lottery, lottery, lottery.
Visit walottery.com. Who benefits to learn more.
Olympic Hot Tub's Sweet Spring Savings Event is here. Now through April 14th, thanks to incredible factory discounts, you can save up to $16,500 on an amazing endless pool swim spa. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
7:43, time for traffic on the threes with Sully.
And I could use a little help from my KIRO drivers and the Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line, 888-973-5476. Voice to text, have a passenger text. Don't you do it to what you get where you're going. But I could use some help. Northbound I-5 near the north end of Boeing Field. Very heavy there as you approach the West Seattle Bridge. So we're seeing some extra slowing there. We're need about 50 minutes to go from the Federal Way into Seattle area, and it's over 35 just from South Center. Looking at northbound 405, those S-curves are very heavy. By the time you're up to 44th, though, it gets better. Looking at about a 35-minute trip to get you up into Bellevue. Behind that, the Valley Freeway is under 50 minutes, probably closer to 45, which is pretty good. Seeing some westbound slowing on 512 over to I-5, a little bit on eastbound 16 past Cheney Stadium. Nothing unusual about that. Out of the north end, we have about an hour and 20-minute trip from Everett to Bellevue. About an hour and 10 from Everett to Seattle, Sutherland, kind of a normal day for you guys. And we continue to struggle in the Stadium District for this tipped-over semi, which has blocked all eastbound lanes of I-90, basically right where Edgar Martinez becomes I-90. And so we are seeing some very heavy brake lights on both directions of 4th Ave, in and around there, both directions of 1st Ave for people who use those corridors to get into and around downtown. I would recommend Airport Way. If that's where you want to go. Heck, even 6th, you can work your way on up and work your way around underneath the I-90 corridor there and maybe save a couple of minutes. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Our forecast, just a few slight showers in the area, unless you're in the convergence zone or on the east side or on the coast. Most of us are dry. Showers and sun for today, 53. Tomorrow, maybe a few sprinkles, otherwise partly sunny by afternoon. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, lots of sunshine. Highs in the low 60s for Saturday and Sunday, upper 60s on Monday. Right now in Seattle, it's cloudy and 43.
Coming up, KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey with a tech talk this week, looking at that lawsuit against social media companies Meta and YouTube. That's on the way on Seattle's Morning News.
Jason Rance here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn from Nunn Better Tax Resolution. So, Greg, not all tax resolution companies are the same. There are some that are definitely not local. There are others that don't quite know what they're doing even.
Well, I tell you, these ads that all of us hear, Fresh Start program, they make you feel like, hey, man, I can just easy peasy get my taxes written off. No. And I've had several clients actually come to me after going through that process, and they just get no response after a while. They're passed around from person to person. That doesn't happen at my firm.
You are familiar with the cases that come in. You're working on them.
I'm familiar with every case that comes into our office. And I know what's going on and have the ability to really advise our taxpayers very well on what to do.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, then call Greg Nunn. Nunn Better Tax Resolution, from stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. Nunn Better Tax Resolution.
Hey, I want to tell you a sellwithwes.com success story. Wes Jones knows how important your home sale can be for your future plans. So when he got a call from Susan in Federal Way, he was eager to step up and help her sell her home of 25 years.
Her house was her biggest asset, and this home sale was super meaningful for her. So she's like, I know that I'm leaving money on the table in the condition that it's in. Like, what can we do?
I told him up front that I did not have the time or finances to do what needed to be done. And he immediately jumped in with, well, I do.
He told her about their Listing Boost concierge service.
We identified probably 4 or 5 major things.
It just was all so fast. They did everything.
I'm a son of a builder, and I've done a lot of flips over the years. So this is work that we actually like to do. We are seeking this out.
And I would just tell anybody, here's his phone number, give him a call. He'll take care of it.
So if you're in the market to sell your home, do what Susan did. Check out Wes Jones and his team at sellwithwes.com. Sell with Wes, a better way to sell your home.
Hi, Sarah here with Safeway. We're proud to partner with Champions of Change co-founder Doug Baldwin to help nourish Washington students through the Nourishing Champions program.
Thanks, Sarah. And here's the reality. Every day, students across our state are staying after school for extracurriculars on empty stomachs, and some of them don't know where their next meal will come from. Food insecurity is reaching crisis levels, and the impact on our youth will extend far beyond this moment. The good news is that there's an answer in the federally funded after-school meals programs. But right now, Washington schools' participation is very low, reaching only 2% of the students who qualify.
That's where Nourishing Champions comes in. We're offering grants that not only fund food, but also resource and training support for the schools to offer an after-school meal program for years to come.
Our goal is to reach 10,000 more students in the first year of these grants and then grow from there. School staff can learn more and apply today at championsofchangefoundation.org and navigating to the Nourishing Champions tab. That's championsofchangefoundation.org and click on the Nourishing Champions tab.
For more than 50 years, the voice Seattle trusts. This is Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio.
In today's Tech Talk, Meta has been found liable in multiple landmark lawsuits related to child safety and social media addiction, including a $375 million penalty in New Mexico and a $3 million award in Los Angeles.
In August, KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey spoke with an attorney featured in a documentary that exposes the potential dangers with social media called Can't Look Away.
Now, Matt Bergman, who's right here in Seattle, may have just changed the future of social media.
For the first time ever, 2 social media companies, Meta and YouTube, have been found guilty of creating algorithms to make kids addicted to their product.
It is truly a historic moment.
For longtime tech reporter Jacob Ward on Meet the Press, not only is this big tech's big tobacco moment,
I really think that this is on a par with figuring out that cigarettes cause cancer. This is a huge societal shift that we're seeing.
Ward thinks it will end social media as we know it.
And it is definitely the end of childhood as we have come to accept it.
Tell me exactly what happened.
I'm trying to give him CPR. I need to give him CPR.
In August, we told you about a documentary called Can't Look Away.
I feel like TikTok just put the gun in his hand and told him pull the trigger.
And we talked with Seattle-based attorney Matt Bergman with the Social Media Victims Law Center.
Anyone who has kids experiences the consequences of social media addiction, and some of the parents experience very horrific consequences.
Bergman represented the victim, known by her initials KGM, in the Meta YouTube lawsuit. She started using YouTube at age 6. By the time she turned 11, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. She suffered anxiety, body dysmorphia, and depression. And now, after a 6-week trial, a jury found the tech companies negligent in the design of their apps, which led to KGM's mental health issues. Months ago, Bergman shared stories with us about other families, one who lost their son to suicide, and a mother in Missouri who says her daughter Sarah was so addicted to social media when she confiscated Sarah's phone.
She took her life and wrote in a suicide note, "You shouldn't have taken my phone away from me, Mother."
According to Pew Research, 95% of teens use social media, and a third say they are on it constantly. Several platforms, including Meta, told me in August they have robust tools and safeguards for teens and parents to regulate their time on social media. Ward says while the magnitude of the lawsuit cannot be ignored, the The social media war is far from over.
Enormous First Amendment issues that are going to come up with this. And you know that Meta and YouTube are going to fight tooth and nail because this is an existential threat to the way they do business.
Bergman says more lawsuits are in the works to hold tech companies accountable.
If they just turn off the algorithms and show kids what they want to see, not what they can't look away from, the mental health crisis that we would be seeing in our young people would not exist, and our kids would be healthier and safer, and we'd be on a much better trajectory.
So in a statement, Meta said they respectfully disagree with this recent verdict and they will appeal this. Now, here's another reason why Meta and YouTube have to fight this. The combined wealth of these two companies is $2 trillion. For them, paying a $378 settlement, I mean, that's not a big deal for them. It's like you and me paying like a penny for a Big Mac at McDonald's, right? But there are about 350 cases in the works now. 250 school districts are contemplating lawsuits. There are thousands of students in each district, of course. That's a lot of claims. So that's a lot of money that would line up against these companies. These companies have found a way to make money off of how kids and adults think. I mean, that's incredible.
So is a claim like this is, the Philip Morris lawsuit of the 1990s where they intentionally knew it had addictive properties?
Yes, because this one case now opens the door. It is a successful way to sue and win a case with a jury. And so more will open up. Yes, absolutely. We could be looking at a fundamental difference moving forward with social media. I mean, instead of using that data that they have here to say, like, cure addiction, what a jury found was they're making money off that addiction.
As mom to a 14-year-old girl, I lose sleep at night over this. It is terrifying, and it's so hard to control.
A lot of experts say you should. Yeah.
All right. And Luke, are you ready? Because Manda and I are both off next week. You're going to be sitting in the anchor chair. Are you prepared?
Whose chair would you like to have?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I think they call those the captain seats or the hot seat, or because you face the
Depends
the
on
director
the angle you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'll do? I'll check the lighting and see.
Okay.
See how no one's going to beat Charlie's hair how it looks on the YouTube feed. So
you guys can have a hair off.
Okay.
I'll do my best, and Sully will be here, Dave will be here, and Nick will be here. So we'll be in good hands.
Okay. No parties. Curfew of 9 a.m. G and Ursula will boot you out.
Can't promise that, but the ratings will not go down. I will try my best.
Luke Ducey. Thank you, Luke.
Yeah, you bet.
7:53 now. Sully is at the traffic desk.
Luke and I have a series of 6-7 jokes planned for every day next week.
I'm glad I'll be gone.
I could still use some help from our friends on northbound I-5 trying to make your way past the north end of Boeing Field. We're still seeing a crash being reported there. I haven't found it on my cameras, and we are up to 50 minutes from Federal Way to Seattle, and that's really without any braking until you get up to the beginnings of Boeing Field. The West Seattle Bridge also seeing a little extra slowing today. I think that might be related to our tipped-over semi right at Edgar Martinez and I-90, because you cannot go from Edgar Martinez to eastbound I-90. That ramp there at the right field at T-Mobile Park blocked for that tipped-over semi, which also happened to land on a double dump truck. They're in the process of righting that, so we're seeing some heavy braking on 4th Ave, 1st Ave. Airport Way is probably the best way to go if you want to work your way into downtown. Looking at the rest of the map, about average. We've got Renton to Bellevue at about 35 minutes. Behind that, some very heavy spillover onto the Valley Freeway. Need 25 to 27 minutes now from Auburn to Renton, and that puts us at about 50 from Puyallup. The Olympia to Tacoma Drive, no problems for you guys. Lake bridges are fine. 18 and 16 look okay at this point, and coming down from the north end, we've got about an hour drive now from Linwood to Bellevue, and that's an hour and 20 from Everett. It's about 50 minutes from Linwood to Seattle and an hour and 10 all the way from Everett. So we've kind of settled into a normal day for you guys. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Weird weather day. We're seeing some heavy rain just in a couple of spots. Otherwise, just a slight chance of showers and some sunshine. 53, improving weather for the weekend. Right now, it's 43 in Seattle.
Coming up, more of the day's top stories. And in a KIRO News Radio exclusive report, we have an in-depth look at devastation taking place in encampments on Seattle's Beacon Hill. That is coming up, video and audio at 8:15.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis-McChord.
KIRO News Radio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown,
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO Newsradio App. KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
Major financial decisions deserve education, not pressure. Madrona Financial and CPAs host live seminars and online webinars throughout the year to help you make informed, confident choices. Their tax return treasure hunt discusses how to uncover planning opportunities potentially hidden inside your own tax return. Growing Her Wealth addresses the financial transitions many women face and how to prepare for them thoughtfully and confidently. 7 steps to a successful retirement? Well, this one outlines a practical framework for building income strategies intended to support retirement spending needs. And Landlord Exit Strategies takes a clear look at whether holding, selling, or restructuring your rental properties makes sense long term. You can attend in person or join online from home. To see the full schedule, visit MadronaFinancial.com or call 833-673-7373.
This is a paid advertisement. Investments involve risk. See full disclosures at MadronaFinancial.com.
Momentum in business doesn't come from the calendar. It comes from having the right business partners behind you. Are you with the bank that sets you up for success? Well, WaFd Bank has you covered with free business checking, credit cards, lines of credit, and other services to move your business forward. WaFd offers the latest in payment processing and cash flow tools. They'll find the right fit to meet your goals, and if you're applying for an SBA loan, you'll have peace of mind knowing WaFd Bank is an SBA preferred lender. WaFd Bank, built for business. Visit WaFdBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender, loan subject to credit approval. Non-sufficient funds charges may apply.
Get out in the sun, get your hands in the soil. A little gardening goes a long way. Hi, I'm Sarah from Sky Nursery in Shoreline. April is a great time to grow your connection to nature. Whether it's native fir trees in your backyard, a thriving patch of flowers, or a walk through your local arboretum. Whatever your adventure, there is something beautiful to discover. Our purpose at Sky Nursery is to support you on your gardening journey with quality plants, supplies, and local knowledge. Celebrate Earth Day, Arbor Day, and Native Plant Month with Sky Nursery. Garden tips and info at skynursery.com.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn, understands the pressure that comes from owing money to the IRS. Don't let that pressure build. Call None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn, and we begin Up in Space. The blastoff from Kennedy Space Station yesterday was just the beginning. CBS's Mark Strassman tells us the 4 astronauts on board the Artemis II space capsule are now preparing for the big mission, looping around the moon.
NASA managers will meet later today for a critical decision, whether to approve sending the crew out of Earth orbit and off to the moon. It's the TLI engine burn or translunar injection. After TLI, the crew's committed. They're days away from Earth if a major problem develops.
Well, President Trump told the nation in his primetime address last night that the war in Iran would be ending soon. CBS's Holly Williams reports a very different message is coming out of Tehran.
Iran has issued what seems to be a direct response to President Trump's address to the nation last night, and it is typically fiery. A spokesman for Iran's military command said in a statement addressing the U.S. and Israel this morning, quote, "This war will continue until you experience humiliation, permanent regret, and inevitable surrender."
Business analyst Jill Schlesinger with how the markets are responding to the president's address.
The president spoke with no clear end in sight. Now crude oil is up. And it's not naturally the link that crude is up and stocks are down, but it has seemed to be that.
U.S. oil prices topped $110 a barrel after the president vowed to hit Iran extremely hard. Pope Leo's leading Holy Week observances at the Vatican and has renewed his appeal for peace. He said he had been told President Trump wants to end the war in the Middle East and expressed hope that he's seeking a way to decrease the violence. CBS's Chris Livesay is in Rome and tells us where the Pope plans to celebrate Easter.
He's not going to be celebrating 4th of July in the United States as he was invited to do by the White House. Instead, he's going to be celebrating that on the island of Lampedusa, which is a hot spot for migrants. So very much charting his own path right now.
There is a new weight loss player in the game, and if you don't like the idea of jabbing yourself with a needle, this may be the one for you. Dr. Celine Gounder tells us the FDA just approved the new pill from Eli Lilly called Fandeo.
Unlike earlier GLP-1 pills, this doesn't require you to fast. You don't have to time your meals around when you take it, so it just makes it a lot easier to take and therefore people are more likely to stick with it.
But she says, like other weight loss drugs, insurance may not cover it. Checking Wall Street. Everything is in the red right now. The Dow's down 94 points, S&P 500 off 9, NASDAQ down 53. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
Just in time, Chris Sullivan at 8:03 is here with traffic.
Just in time for what? Come on, man.
The traffic report.
I look at the roads like Neo looks at the Matrix, man. I got this thing dialed. Coming down from the north end, we are dealing with the heavy brake lights, but nothing unusual for a Thursday. Bumper to bumper away from Linwood on 405, and from about 175th now in Shoreline, make it 145th now, coming down into Seattle. But well over an hour from Linwood into Seattle or Bellevue. That's become kind of the norm. Still looking for a crash on northbound I-5 at the north end of Boeing Field. Haven't found it. My drivers haven't found it. But it looks like it could just be extra volume. 50 minutes from Federal Way to Seattle, and almost all of the braking there is from the beginning of Boeing Field. Northbound 405, Renton S-curves are active, but nothing overtly so. About a 35-minute trip for you. Some significant spillover onto the Valley Freeway, though. Up over 25 minutes from Auburn and close to 50 all the way. West Seattle Bridge a little slow as well, and we continue to work with the tipped over semi, which is blocking all eastbound lanes of I-90 right there at Edgar Martinez, so you can't get away from the stadiums there on that and make it into, so say down to the I-5 corridor or continue on to I-90. And so this is really jamming up Soto, especially on 4th Ave and on 1st Ave. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. Search Seattle Sports on YouTube, click subscribe, and get fresh video content daily.
8:04 on the Thursday, April 2nd, 2026 edition of Seattle's Morning News. I'm Charlie Harger with Manda Factor.
Governor Bob Ferguson is facing criticism after vetoing funding to fight organized retail crime.
Washington State ranked number 1 in the nation for retail theft a couple years ago, and KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey is here with the latest.
Yeah, retail theft is why we see security guards at the entrances of all of our grocery stores now. The hottest items that people take, you probably guessed this, most of the things that are locked up, razors, right? Beauty products, deodorant. Laundry detergent is a big one. Shopping carts sometimes exit stores packed full of laundry detergent, baby formula clothes, and of course, alcohol as well. Well, the governor announced his veto yesterday, removing $500,000 to fight retail theft, and he did it right before he signed the state's supplemental operating budget.
If we have a proposal to do something in our budget, we've got to have the funding to do it.
When there was not funding provided and agencies could not absorb the costs, I had to veto those programs.
Forbes called Washington the #1 state in the nation for retail theft back in 2024. Businesses have lost more than $2.5 billion, according to some experts. The state has lost more than $600 million in taxes. And that's why State Rep Mari Levitt, who's a Democrat down in Pierce County, says that she's deeply disappointed and puzzled by the governor's move. Last year, the governors supported her and others to help launch a retail theft pilot program that was successful. From January to June last year, King County prosecutors filed 142 retail theft cases, which is 2.5 times more than the average across the past 4 years. Well, yesterday at that budget bill signing, the governor stuck to his guns, explaining why he needed to make that cut.
Our state agencies are taking another $1 billion in reductions after already taking significant cuts last session. Our state employees, once again, are being asked to do more with less. Consequently, we have limited ability to absorb additional work or expenses that are not funded in the budget.
Others say, $500,000 in total of the budget is kind of like pennies on the dollar. Retail theft has led, of course, to the closing of 2 Fred Meyer locations in Everett and Kent. Charlie and Manda, Levitt said on social media, when that happens, it's put small businesses and public safety at risk. So she vows to put this back in the next budget, but long time between now and then.
Luke Ducey reporting live. It's 8:07.
2 Washington sheriffs are pushing back against a new law targeting law enforcement leaders. Governor Ferguson signed that bill yesterday.
It requires sheriffs and police chiefs to be certified, pass a background check, and have a clean criminal history. The News Tribune reports Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank and Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders both called it government overreach. Ferguson says sheriffs should be held to the same standards as their own deputies.
We told you a new audit is raising questions about nearly $37 million in child care payments in Washington. The auditor's office found weak oversight at the Department of Children, Youth and Families led to questionable payments made with federal funds last year. Senate Republican leader John Braun called the findings a systemic failure.
The agency's response to, hey, this is really bad was, well, we're going to need more money. There's no trust that they'll use that money to really get after the problem.
The auditor's report does not confirm there was fraud. In a statement, DCYF says it's committed to strengthening internal controls and resolving the issues identified.
Keeping you informed since 1974. This is the city's longest-running radio news show.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio.
Good morning. It's 8:08. It's Thursday, April 2nd. Charlie, it's your Friday.
Yeah, it is. In vacation awaits. Looking forward to it, but I'll miss you, Amanda. Sully, kind of. David, definitely.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Sully doesn't care. He's busy headbanging.
Yeah. Well, it is, of course, a big weekend. Holy Thursday today, tomorrow, Good Friday. Of course, tonight is also Passover. Can't forget that. And Easter is on Sunday.
Coming up on Seattle's Morning News this hour, Charlie, you have an exclusive.
Yeah, I have been heading to Seattle's Beacon Hill several times over the past few months, and I have some pretty intense footage and a story to tell you about what neighbors are saying, but also getting some help for a homeless addict. We talk about that, and you can check out the report. That is coming up around 8:14.
Also, G. Scott will stop by to talk about the Mariners. Is it time to start worrying about the team's big stars? Slow starts for Julio and Cal. G's going to weigh in coming up this hour.
It's 8:09. Deputies in Snohomish County shot and killed a man yesterday. KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery says an investigation is underway.
This happened in Linwood near Martha Lake Park around 5 p.m. Wednesday. Deputies say they got a call about some sort of disturbance at a home and were told that a man had a gun. Very few details have been released at this moment, but shots were fired. A suspect was hit. Investigators say they tried to save him, but he died at the scene. No deputies were hurt. Mukilteo police will lead an outside investigation to avoid conflicts of interest. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
A 2-year-old toddler was shot in Tacoma Tuesday night.
Tacoma police say it happened just before 9:30 near South Steele Street and 96th Street South. Fortunately, the toddler was taken to the hospital and last reported in stable condition. About 2 hours after the shooting, police located and arrested 2 suspects, one on suspicion of first-degree assault, the other suspected of rendering criminal assistance. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Federal drug enforcement agents are bracing for a surge in demand for fentanyl and other drugs this summer. KIRO 7's Madeline Ottilie spoke with the special agent in charge, Robert Saccone, about the issue.
Agents' work will ramp up this summer as hundreds of thousands of people flock to Seattle for the World Cup. Saccone couldn't share specifics of enforcement operations, but assured they were happening in the background.
Our agents are working 24 hours, 7 days a week. They look like normal people. They're normal, regular clothes and regular cars. And so most of the time, the public won't even see a DEA agent, and that's our purpose.
Saccone says they're working aggressively to disrupt the supply chain that fuels production of fentanyl by cartels in Mexico. Those drugs eventually make their way to the streets of Seattle.
More than 40 Washington companies have a part in NASA's Artemis II mission to the moon. KIRO 7 TV's Dee Sun says that includes L3 Harris in Redmond, which builds rocket thrusters.
Carbon Space and Defense in Mukilteo is also contributing to the mission. They make the mechanism that launches the parachutes to help astronauts return to Earth. Boeing is the lead contractor on the SLS rocket that'll propel the Orion Crew module into space.
Coming up on 8:12, let's get a check on the weather. Here's KIRO 7's Nick Allard.
A little bit of rain still. It's been pretty wet around Snohomish County this morning. That's going to dissipate later this morning for a drier afternoon, and we'll look for temperatures in the 50s and just a few showers around with mostly cloudy skies. I think tomorrow we're going to be right there in the upper 50s, a little bit of rain across the Canadian border and the coast in the morning, and not much for the afternoon. And then 60s for Saturday, low to mid 60s for Easter Sunday, upper 60s and lower 70s for Monday with beautiful sunshine. Do see some more clouds on Tuesday and temperatures start to cool off again, but we got a few days of really nice and warm sunshine weather.
You're getting rain from Shoreline north. We have 40 downtown Seattle.
And time for a check on traffic. What do you have, Sully?
Well, I want to thank our good friend Adam, who's out there doing his Staples runs today. That nothing but volume on northbound I-5 past the Michigan curve. There may have been something there a little while ago, but all is good there. The lanes are open. But we have about a 50-minute trip from Federal Way to Seattle. It's still pretty heavy all the way past the West Seattle Bridge. We continue to work with the closure of all eastbound lanes of I-90 right there at the right field at T-Mobile Park, right where Edgar Martinez becomes I-90. Tipped over semi there is now back up on its wheels, and so hopefully we'll be able to get this thing open shortly. But seeing some very heavy braking in and around the Soto neighborhood through downtown. 4th Ave is really taking a lot of it, so is 1st Ave. Rented to Bellevue, about 35 minutes. Valley Freeway is not too bad at all, back to 45 minutes for you. Still struggling out of the north end, though, with an hour drive at least from Linwood to go down to Seattle or to Bellevue. The lake bridges are fine. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
Hear it live, stream it online, watch the show, or catch the podcast anytime.
Seattle's Morning News, wherever you are.
Drug station after drug station after drug station.
This is Beacon Hill. 4 parks, hundreds of people now, and an open-air drug market operating in plain sight. I've been here 4 times in the past 4 months, and every time it's worse. Volunteers cleaned this graffiti on Sunday, and by Wednesday, as I visited, it was back. The dog park is unusable, and the pagoda, a gift from Korea, is now someone's shelter.
This is not down and out homeless. If we keep calling this a homeless and an affordability crisis or not enough shelters, we are doing these folks a disjustice and an injustice to the neighbors. This is a open-air drug market.
Andrea Suarez has been documenting these camps for 5.5 years with We Heart Seattle. And she's trying to get city leaders to understand something they keep getting wrong. This is not a housing crisis. These aren't people who lost a job and couldn't make rent. This is a drug crisis. And until we call it that, we'll never solve it.
There's prostitution, theft, dealing, using, property destruction. Don't get down on the drug addict. They're being preyed on by dealers, by Johns, pimps, anybody that knows that they are a vulnerable population.
And every time someone here smokes fentanyl, they're gambling with their life. One hit could be their last. Kevin has lived in this neighborhood for years. He watched the camps grow from a few tents to what you see now.
And then just in the last, I say 2 months, it just exploded, especially after they really patrolled the Jackson and 12th area. Seemed like that whole issue just kind of moved over to our neighborhood. People up here in the north end that share an alley right next to the Lewis Park, they've been threatened as they asked people to clear their driveways so they could get in route. Had their porches defecated on. They've, one was, threatened saying, hey, we know where you live.
Kevin tells me he's emailed his council member 4 times, the mayor's office too. No response.
We're at a loss. We felt helpless, hopeless. It's like we have to just live with this chaos.
Kevin told me something he heard 15 years ago from a leader at a local homeless shelter.
Said our homeless problem is really a drug problem masquerading as a homeless problem. And I don't think what we see here is just these people can't afford to face the death. They need treatment.
And then here's KG. I first met him last summer in Belltown at a rough and tumble corner with dozens of homeless addicts. Andrea was able to get him into Lakeside Milam, a treatment center, the same day she found him. He graduated, reunited with his mom after 10 years, gained 30 pounds, and then he came back.
I've known him for a year and on my block, and it's hard. Of course he's going to come back out here and fail. Seattle has a no-rules playground, permissive.
I didn't have nowhere to go. I was outside again. And I'm like, what can I do? So you get these feelings, you know what I mean? Like, life don't matter no more sometimes. It's like you just want to get all these feelings away. So if I would have stayed in the recovery house that she gave me, I would have did good.
And now we're standing where the pavilion once was. It was demolished. This is where barbecues were had, memories were had, ice cream parties, birthday parties, especially for this Filipino community and the Vietnamese and the Chinese International District. I mean, this is a melting pot. Good morning, just doing a wellness check on you guys.
This is what it looked like right here in December. People passed out under garbage. Andrea had to check a man lying on the concrete just to make sure he was still alive.
Can I get a sign of life, my friend? Okay.
Seattle's solution? Tear it down.
This is kind of the Seattle way, is fence it off, tear it down, block it off, instead of getting to the root problem, which is to enforce the law, pass legislation that says narcotic use, illegal use of drugs.
Now they're building a gender-neutral bathroom near where the pavilion stood. Here's what I want to understand. Does anyone from the city, the county, the state, does anyone walk up to the people we saw today and say, hey man, I think you need some help. Let's get you into rehab today?
Who knows what's going on inside there? Who knows if they have housing?
Well, the answer is no. That's not how it works.
There's more foil as foliage than foliage. Like foliage has a new meaning in Seattle.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There's a philosophy of meeting people where they're at, just give them harm reduction supplies, more foil, more needles, more Narcan, a sandwich to keep them alive another day until they're ready.
Under the harm reduction model, outreach workers don't proactively offer treatment. They wait. The policy is to say nothing unless the addict asks for help first. But here's the thing. Treatment is available right now, today.
There's Lakeside Milam. Ituha, Valley Cities is open 24/7. You can go to the new Orca Center, $12 million new 3rd Avenue, 12 brand new leather chairs, 24/7, walk in anytime to stabilize, and they're not even at capacity.
Don't believe Andrea? Listen to KG.
It is available, but you just got to know where to go to. But she put me in a nice place, I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? I felt good.
And when she first met him, Andrea was able to get KG into treatment the same day. Not a referral, a ride. That's what it takes, and that's what almost no one is doing. Every time someone smokes fentanyl, there's a chance they won't wake up. KG knows.
You know how many people have died?
My best friend just died like a week ago.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's he was smoking too much dope and just sitting in the car. It makes you like your whole body, it takes everything away from your like nutrients of your body. So if you like don't eat for like a couple of days or like even like So you gotta eat a lot of food at least, you know what I mean? And like, let's say you oversleep like 16 hours, right? And you just stay in the car, you'll die. That's how easy it is, because it takes everything out of your body.
Kevin has been thinking about this for 20 years.
Back in the day, when I was young, it was very common for interventions to take place. You know, people that cared about people that were addicted and they did something. It was hard, it was kind of tough, but you know, the alternative is if you let people use, eventually they're going to die.
KG agreed to return to treatment if she called him last Friday, so that's when Andrea called him. He didn't answer. On Sunday, Andrea texted me. KG was high and desperate for help. She offered to pick him up and bring him to detox. He agreed, but then he disappeared. On Monday, We Heart Seattle volunteers found KG, this time in Belltown. He was slumped over, clearly drugged, but he agreed to get treatment.
Where are we off to, KG?
We're off to Lakeside Mall and a whole different lifestyle. Inshallah. God bless.
Somewhere in the last decade, Seattle decided that leaving people to rot in public parks was the enlightened approach, that surrounding them with needles and foils and looking the other way was dignity, that demanding they get help was cruelty. We have convinced ourselves that tolerating open-air drug markets, human suffering, prostitution, and crime in our neighborhoods is the compassionate choice, that asking people to get help is an imposition, that the kindest thing we can do is wait. But Andrea didn't get that memo. She keeps calling anyway. And this week, KG might take that first step. The city is still waiting for him to ask. That's the policy, right? Outreach workers are trained to stand nearby and say nothing. No offer of treatment, no push toward help until the addict asks first. KG has to want it bad enough to say so, while he's high in a park surrounded by dealers. That is what we're calling compassion.
Boy, I am rooting for KG.
Sure are. And the last we heard, he had gotten checked in.
Good.
So this is a positive first step. And that's what we're trying to do with this story. We're not trying to demonize the homeless. We're trying to get them help.
Yeah.
They are dying.
You're doing amazing
streets.
work, Charlie.
All right. Well, you can check that out. We have the video posted on mynorthwest.com. And definitely let us know what you think.
It's 8:23. Time for a check on traffic now. We do that every 10 minutes for you. And Sully, some good news.
And I will keep, well, first of all, again, kudos to you again, Charlie.
Yes.
I'll keep saying it.
Thank you.
It needs to be said a lot in this era of people distrusting our profession.
Yeah.
And thinking that we bring a whole bunch of things to the table when we're just trying to report the news and help out our community. Solid, local reporting like this just doesn't happen without the good people we have here in this. I mean, kudos for doing this work. You
Thanks,
don't
Sully.
get this anywhere else. And I mean, I'm not trying to kiss your ass. Sorry. But this is the work that needs to be done that stations don't do anymore.
Agreed.
So good on you. But the positive news we have right now is they have reopened one of the lanes of eastbound I-90, basically where Edgar Martinez becomes I-90, right there at T-Mobile Park. We've had this rolled over, or tipped over semi, I should say. It would have rolled over had it not landed on a double dump truck. So we count our blessings. But one lane has reopened. They're still seeing a lot of slowing in and around the Soto area, right around 4th Ave and Edgar Martinez. I blame David for that, not Manda, because Manda wasn't doing anything. But anyway, northbound I-5. Sorry, that wasn't you took
for the
a stray
record, my
there.
computer is not on the board even.
You took a
so
stray for a wrong reason.
Not possible.
Better way to Seattle.
Sorry.
Back down to 45 to 48 minutes. Valley Freeway 45 now. Renton actually picking up the pace. Only 36 minutes now to get it up into Bellevue. Coming down from the north end. We're still struggling away from Linwood, but we've got about an hour drive from Linwood to Bellevue and about 50 minutes from Linwood to Seattle. So it's manageable. Lake bridges are okay. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. You can always listen to your favorite local sports content on the FM dial 97.3 HD2.
Well, for most of us, the day will be dry, but we do have a threat of some lingering showers. Some people are actually seeing some heavy rain in the north end and on the east side this morning. It should subside, 53 the high, and then we're going to get into a really nice stretch of weather. Tomorrow, maybe a few sprinkles, but sunshine by afternoon, 57. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, beautiful sunny skies, warming up to 67 on Monday. Right now it's 44 in Seattle.
Coming up, KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey with reaction from state lawmakers after the president's primetime address last night. And Sully has a choke point.
Yeah, I do. We're going to take a look at the weather forecast and what that's doing to spring construction season.
All right, that's coming up here on Seattle's Morning News.
KIRO News Radio, the first place you turn for the news you trust.
ICE agents have now been deployed to 14 airports across the country.
Traffic.
Did they open lanes?
They just reopened all lanes of northbound I-5.
Engaging conversation.
If he ends this right now, it only emboldens Iran. That's a big, big mistake.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
A one-hander! JSN!
Always here, always with you. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
I just can't dig it.
Dig what?
My water line.
Needs replacing?
And I don't want digging in my yard.
And maybe your driveway.
Can't dig it.
Don't dig it.
But how do you?
Apollo Plumbing replaces water lines without digging up your yard.
You're Dan.
From the Ready Right Now plumbers.
Apollo Plumbing.
Our trenchless technology replaces water and sewer lines.
Without digging up my yard?
2 little holes is all it takes.
Sounds better.
Faster, too.
And my yard?
Like we were never there.
Sounds spendy.
Not so much.
Oh?
In the end, about the same as that messy digging you don't want.
How do you figure?
Think about that landscaping you love.
Yeah?
Trenchless means you won't be paying to replace it.
Or my driveway.
We run everything underground.
Trenchless?
Do them all the time.
How about...
Easy payments?
Yeah.
With approved credit. Sure thing.
When can you get started?
We are the Ready Right Now plumbers.
Love that.
Apollo Plumbing, trenchless waterline replacement.
Sewer lines, too.
Can you dig that?
That I can.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Hi, Flo here from Progressive. You know, life changes quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, you mean like adding another vehicle?
Yes, that's something we can do.
Great, because I was thinking about getting a van so we could just keep the kids' softball stuff in the car.
Oh, we don't need to get into specifics. Just saying it's easy to change.
Oh, and Hannah wants to try the tuba.
Again, we don't need the specifics.
Last year, she wanted to be a tap dancer, but that only lasted 2 lessons.
Okay.
But she kept the shoes because they are adorable.
Well, just know that with Progressive, you can easily add another car to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Insulation rebates from PSE are at historic highs. American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $3 million in PSE insulation rebates last year, more than any contractor in Washington. Homeowners, business owners, and PSE trust American Crawl Space and Pest Services. Was your home built before 1990? Visit AmericanCrawl.com to see how much you can save on replacing your insulation.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Your new home for Tesla, EV, and hybrid maintenance is A&M Auto Repair in Bellevue with dealer-level diagnostics, electrical, mechanical, and suspension repairs. Find A&M Auto Repair in Bellevue online at myevpros.com or 425-96-EV-FIX.
You didn't work hard to watch your retirement unravel. You saved, you sacrificed, you built something meaningful for yourself and for your family. Hi, I'm elder law attorney Rajiv Nagaich. I've seen what happens when unexpected health events collide with traditional retirement plans. Savings that took decades to build drains away faster than anyone expected. At LifePoint Law, we help you build a life plan to help you protect your assets and way of life. If you are retired or thinking about retiring, now is the time to double-check your retirement plan.
Retirement doesn't have to feel like a gamble. With straightforward planning and clear answers, LifePoint Law replaces fear with clarity, but only if you start now. Attend the next seminar this Saturday in Bothell, April 7th in Bremerton, the 9th in Olympia, or the 11th in Federal Way. Seats are limited. Sign up now at lifepointlaw.com. Visit lifepointlaw.com.
There is one real estate agent who's been helping KIRO listeners longer than anyone else, and that's Wes Jones with sellwithwes.com. Wes, you've helped KIRO listeners in good markets and more difficult ones. What do you think has been the secret to your success?
Thanks, Brandy. Experience has taught us that to outperform the market, we needed to do things differently from the status quo, that we needed to do more. Our exclusive system covers innovative marketing locally and internationally, leading to more eyeballs on your home, better listing prep for better showings, negotiation strategies that eliminate pesky buyer contingencies, and generate stronger offers. Through our exclusive client programs, our sellers enjoy an extraordinary marketing experience utilizing techniques a traditional agent cannot offer.
So if you want to sell your home faster, at a higher price, and with fewer contingencies, if you want more, visit sellwithwes.com. Sellwithwes.com, a better way to sell your home.
Everyday students stay after school for sports, clubs, and tutoring, many on empty stomachs. Safeway and Champions of Change offer grants for after-school meal programs. Schools must apply by April 8th at championsofchangefoundation.org and click Nourishing Champions.
Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Live from East Lake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Good morning. It is 8:31. President Donald Trump is getting a lot of praise from Republicans after his televised update on the Iran war last night.
But local Democratic lawmakers are giving his speech a big thumbs down. They are calling for an end to the war.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is here with more reaction.
The ranking Democrats in the House Armed Services Committee, including Adam Smith, are demanding Trump now negotiate a diplomatic end to the war. In a statement on social media, they said it's the only plausible way to end his, quote, catastrophic war. While Representative Susan Delbany reacted to this declaration from Trump, she says the president has no goals and no strategy, and that Washingtonians are now paying the price.
We are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We are going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
On the other side, a lot of Republicans loved the president's speech. Senator Lindsey Graham calls the war in Iran, quote, one of the most successful military operations in history. At one point, the president said over the next 2 or 3 weeks, the U.S. is going to bring Iran back to the Stone Ages, where they belong. When it comes to the world's oil supply, Trump says our NATO allies can either buy oil from us because we have plenty, or they can
build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before, should have done it with us, as we asked. Go to the strait and just take it.
Senator Patty Murray says on social media the president wants to spend more money on wars, it seems, than child care and health care here in the Pacific Northwest. Charlie and Manda, mostly the reaction is along party lines, like most everything else with the president these days.
Okay. Luke Ducey reporting live. At least 2 more police agencies are shutting off their license plate tracking systems. Here's KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery.
They say the new rules open up officers to criminal charges if they're violated. And those rules say you can't use automatic license plate trackers within 500 feet of protected places like schools and hospitals. That's why the Spokane County Sheriff and Richland Police Departments have now joined the Pierce County Sheriff in deactivating their entire systems. While some areas have cameras on telephone poles, many agencies have them mounted on patrol vehicles. And there's no way right now to manually turn those cameras off if deputies get close to a banned zone. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Supporters of a new law that sets higher standards for law enforcement leaders cheered as Governor Ferguson signed it yesterday, but local law enforcement says it's bad policy. Here's KIRO's John Rep.
While Governor Ferguson applauded the goal of Senate Bill 5974,
sheriffs and police chiefs should be held to the same standards as their own officers and deputies. They should be certified and have law enforcement experience, pass a background check, and have a clean criminal history.
The News Tribune reports that Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank and Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders are calling it an overreach, concerned that the law sets the stage for state authorities to decertify and remove elected sheriffs they don't like. John Rep, KIRO News Radio.
Time to get a check on traffic now. Chris Sullivan is watching the roads.
And we've kind of settled in. And in fact, as we approach 9 o'clock over the next half hour, things have actually kind of cleared out going from south to north, which is pretty nice. I mean, if you're looking at I-5, you're really not going to touch the brakes at all from Olympia all the way up to about the beginnings to middle of Boeing Field. That's actually a very good drive. And Federal Way on up does not look bad, again, until you get to the beginnings to middle of Boeing Field. We're running 46 minutes from Federal Way to Seattle. Seattle, which at this time of day, that's a win. And then the Valley Freeway is all green on the map until you get to about 180th. So under 45 minutes, which is also about 5 or 6 minutes faster than normal. Now we're going the other direction on 405. We've added a couple of minutes there, 40 minutes from Renton to Bellevue because of the heavy brake lights we have at I-90 trying to weave and merge as you work your way towards Southeast 8 before they kind of thin out a little bit. Across the lake, no problems. Still struggling on 405 from before Canyon Park down through 522, but the rest of the way down isn't terrible. Still an hour away from Linwood, about 50 minutes from Linwood down to Seattle. Brake lights super heavy from 145th on down, and we're continuing to work with a couple of lanes of eastbound I-90 closed right at T-Mobile Park. One lane is getting by, though, now that they've righted the tipped-over semi there that we've been dealing with most of the morning. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
Stand by for your choke point. Don't go anywhere. Mix of showers and sun for today, 53 the high. We are seeing some heavier rain in a couple of spots, but that should subside. We're talking like the convergence zone and near the foothills. For tomorrow, just a few sprinkles a possibility, but for the most part, it'll be dry, partly sunny by afternoon and 57. Saturday and Sunday look absolutely awesome. Mostly sunny both days on the weekend. Highs in the low 60s into the upper 60s on Monday. Right now, it's cloudy and 44 in Seattle.
I'm their conduit, and I'm glad to do it.
Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Let's go!
Now, Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
Presented by Carter Subaru.
It really did look like he was about to wander off.
Yes, it did.
Sully is here with your choke point.
My mind today.
Apparently
to the
so.
Chair.
Well, we're talking today about a big project, a major construction project that is at the whim of the weather, Sully.
Yeah, this is a project that we've been talking about a lot. We talked about it for several years, and I talked about it a lot last year. This is the new interchange at SR 918 and 990, right there in Snoqualmie. They've been finishing up the diverging diamond there and doing the widening. But right now, they have to do the finishing touches. And so WashDOT is looking at its meteorologists because striping and paving needs really good weather. So here's WashDOT's Marcus Humberg.
Weather is just a constantly shifting target. We've already had to shift the first weekend worth of work that was going to be April 2nd. Now it's looking at April 9th if the weather holds out.
Contractor opened the new interchange last summer. That widening was finished a few months later, and now it's time to do those last little bit of things.
Yes, we were able to open the DDI. Yes, we were able to open the widening. No, we don't have that top layer of asphalt. That final driving wear surface that goes on top.
So what they have to do over the next couple of weekends and really like next couple of months is really kind of now do segment by segment paving and striping. And in order to do that, several extended weekend closures are now necessary moving forward.
3 extended full weekend closures, 1 eastbound, 1 westbound, 1 full closure underneath I-90, and then we will have 4 weekend closures of a ramp each. And then we'll come back with 1 more weekend closure to stripe the whole project.
The first full weekend closure is expected to begin next Thursday, April 9th, and last through early Monday morning. Again, that was supposed to happen tonight, but the weather was dicey enough going into tonight that they decided they'd push it for a week. And that's what's going to happen over the spring as they try to get this all done. Next week's closure, as predicted, will be in the eastbound direction, meaning drivers will not be able to go east on SR 18 from the Issaquah-Hobart Road to I-90.
If folks are trying to head on eastbound 18 during that closure, they will be forced to exit at Issaquah-Hobart Road, and then trucks will likely be turned around because they're not supposed to head down that road.
Truckers, you should really stick with 405 to I-90. I know it's a much longer trip, but Issaquah-Hobart Road can't handle your size or the volume of freight that goes through there. It's just easier to go all the way around. The goal is to have all this work finished before the end of the school year.
We're hoping, as long as the weather holds out, that we'll have a good roadway ready to open up for the summer travel season.
Now, as we look forward to the end of this project, we should be in the planning phase for the next phase of this work, which is going to basically extend the widening of Highway 18 where it ends now through this new work over the top of Tiger Mountain down to the Issaquah-Hobart Road on the west side. That was supposed to start in about a year. They're about to take a year off. Well, unfortunately, that's going to be pushed. Humberg tells me that the legislature decided to punt that down the road a little.
They delayed the SR 18 widening, the funding for it, until the 2029-2030 biennium. So that's when we're going to potentially see more work on the SR 18 corridor.
So that means now the project that was set to begin around that time frame, or sorry, set to open around that time frame, will now not even begin until then. As for this finishing work now that we're figuring out for the next couple of months, we'll be watching the weather with WashDOT really closely. And again, we'll let you know when work's a go or when it's going to be postponed. But there's going to be a lot of weekend work and moving pieces over the next couple of months as they finish the work there.
All right, so, and this is up on My Northwest?
Yes, it is.
Okay, what's coming up in traffic?
We're going to take a look at what is now an improving drive and give you an update on our tipped-over semi right there by T-Mobile Park.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO Newsradio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO Newsradio app.
Not sure how to tackle your taxes? Are you sweating the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Hey there, Dawn Riling with Olympic Hot Tub. Make the arrival of spring even sweeter with a healthy, relaxing saltwater soak every night. During our Sweet Spring Savings event, you can save up to $3,000 on the hot tub of your dreams. Experience the incredible wellness benefits of natural salt water right in your own backyard. Ends April 14th. Learn more at OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
How would you like to finally lose all those unwanted pounds quickly without spending thousands on painful injections or prescriptions? Hi, it's Donna Simpson, health and wellness expert. You probably know someone that is using Ozempic, the hottest diet craze in the country. Everyone knows about this prescription injection. Celebs use it to look their best. The problem is most of us can't afford Ozempic, and these injections can be so uncomfortable. Now you can lose the weight just as easily, but with no needles, no expensive prices, no side effects, and no worries. You need to try Lozempic, a new miracle weight loss breakthrough that performs so well it's been called nature's Ozempic. Lozempic is an easy-to-take diet pill now available without a prescription, being used by thousands to get rid of those unwanted pounds. So call now and find out how to get a free bottle.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Lozempic, call 800-631-7101, 800-631-7101. Free bottles are limited, so call 800-631-7101. That's 800-631-7101.
It's 8:43, and that's time to check traffic on the threes with Chris Sullivan.
And we're down to the last couple of spots where the braking is super intense, and they're the usual places. So if you do this every day and you're with us every day, you know what to expect on your drive. Federal Way to Seattle, under 50 minutes, though. Heaviest spot there, right from the middle of Boeing Field past the West Seattle Bridge. Then it thins out. Actually, not too bad. And the West Seattle Bridge itself backed up all the way, but nothing that you can't handle or nothing you shouldn't anticipate on a Thursday morning. Northbound 405, another one of those spots. The Renton S-curves are very active. In fact, off and on slowing up past 44th now, and then you have it through Factoria today. A lot of weaving and merging slowing getting into downtown Bellevue. But behind that, the Valley Freeway has cleared out. We're under 45 minutes, probably closer to 40, and most of Pierce County is all green on the map, which is great. Lake bridges are fine. Still about an hour drive from Linwood down into Bellevue and about 50 minutes from Linwood into Seattle. Now to our tipsy eastbound semi-driver. Well, only because his semi tipped. Yeah, I can't say the driver was tipsy. I don't have any information from the State Patrol on that. But no, if you joined us late, we had someone not negotiate the curve very well from Edgar Martinez to where it becomes I-90 right there at T-Mobile Park. Driver of his semi tipped to his right-hand side and landed on a double dump truck. Fortunately, no injuries, and they have reopened one of the lanes past that. But if you're coming up fourth, coming up first, you might run into some slowing in and around the Edgar Martinez interchange. KIRO Newsradio real-time traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Our forecast for most of us, just a slight chance of showers and some sunshine, 53. We are seeing some pockets of heavy rain this morning, though. For tomorrow, just a few sprinkles, a possibility, and then we'll get to some sunshine by afternoon, 57. And here we go into a really nice weekend. Mostly sunny Saturday and Sunday, low 60s, 67 the expected high on Monday in the sunshine. It's 44 in Seattle right now.
Coming up, G. Scott stops by. The Mariners are off to a slow start this season. So are two of Seattle's stars. G will weigh in on whether it's time for fans to begin worrying. That's next on Seattle's Morning News.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Seattle's Morning News. Hear it live, stream it online, watch the show, or catch the podcast anytime on mynorthwest.com.
Here he is from the G and Ursula show. G, before we get to the Mariners, their struggles, can I get your take on this? What happened last night? Instead of hot dogs from heaven, carrots from the clouds.
Yeah.
April Fool's Day.
Hey, you know what? That was the best thing probably that kind of got me on April Fool's, because I realized something.
What's that?
I realized that yesterday was the most un-April Fool's Day in our history, in our lives. The reason why is because yesterday was a normal day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got somebody behind the podium just lying. You have a news source just saying stuff, just lying. So yesterday's April Fool's Day was It was another day. So, I don't know.
You saw a cool rocket launch?
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
That was awesome.
That right there is awesome. What y'all got for me today? Talk about these Mariners?
Yeah, 3 and 4 right now.
Yeah, you know what? Manda, she told me she likes stories, so I got to give her a story.
Please
Here we
do.
go. Now, have you ever been on a first date and it's a little awkward?
Yes.
You don't know when to talk. You kind of laugh a little too hard. You maybe say something weird. Now, that doesn't mean it won't be good chemistry. It just means that the two of you are trying to figure things out. That's the Mariners right now. Cal Raleigh, Josh Naylor, you know what I'm saying? Julio. It's not that they can't hit. They can hit. They just a little timing problem right now, trying to figure it out. The pitching is holding it down right now. Pitching is ahead of schedule. Sometimes your pocketbook, your finances might be ahead of schedule, but you might be a little socially awkward during that date. Now, as you continue to date, I would say that date number 10 is the equivalent of the month of May for the Mariners.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, by the time date number 10 and it's still awkward and stuff just not going right, that might not be the person for you. If come May, these Mariners are still doing the same thing, then we can talk. So we can't confuse bad timing with maybe there will be no chemistry. I can guarantee you that right away that they didn't fall in love with Charlie on date number 1. There's not even possible. Now, it's the love of her life right now. There's no way Ingrid was like, oh, he just wooed me.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen. Charlie was up the bat like Josh Naylor. He was up the bat like Cal Raleigh. You know Charlie could hit, but he just wasn't hitting, and his timing was real bad.
Yeah. Were you on the phone with her?
All right.
Is it true Julio's hitting .07?
Oh, yeah, he's struggling.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? By the way, David Burbank, always sends me stories to talk about, and I was going to send David a text yesterday, and to which I was going to say, I need light stories for another week.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything heavy. I think the news has been heavy on your boy, so I need to be light. So, David, when you send me stories now, send me light fluff stuff. I don't want anything that has to do with April Fool's Day. That's what I'm going to call it every time, April Fool's Day.
You know, I am out tomorrow and the rest of next week. Manda's gone all next week.
Yeah.
You got your boy Luke Ducey in here all week.
Can you
Are you ready for this?
us?
Luke Ducey? Wait, whoa. Time out. Sully, hold on. How in the heck is both of them on vacation at the same time?
Charlie's fault.
It is my fault.
Sully will tell me.
Well, they forgot to talk when they talked to management, and probably they didn't quite realize they were on the same week vacation until all of a sudden they realized they were.
Well,
so I don't know how
it's
that
my
happens.
fault. So here's what happened. Manda, back in October, texted me, hey, Charlie, are you going to be out of town the week of April 5th?
Yeah.
And at the time, I wasn't. I said, no. She goes, great. I'm going to go on a family vacation.
Okay.
Sounds great.
So Manda was on top of
Manda's
things.
in.
Okay, then what'd you do, Charlie?
So December comes around, and I find the great deal for $650 round trip to go to Tokyo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to buy that. And so I bought the ticket without thinking that I had already told Manda I would be here. So, Boss Brian, he goes, it's okay. We got Luke as our backup. Don't worry about it, Charlie. But I messed up.
That's how it went down.
I totally disregarded Manda.
Make sure I got this straight. See, there I go thinking again, David Burbank. So the boss Brian was cool with it?
Yeah.
No flop or nothing?
Well,
he didn't say nothing?
We rarely take time off.
Wow.
And we already had everything.
Wow.
Man, so thank you to the boss.
What a difference.
Yeah.
I can't even take a sick day.
What a difference.
Okay, we just hope that Luke doesn't do too well.
Do you know about the morning show lounge where we have the catering service and the massage therapy?
No.
Okay. Oh, never mind, G.
All right. So, but David Burbank and Sully, y'all still be here?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Luke
We're
Ducey?
holding down.
Okay. All right. David Burbank, tomorrow's Friday. I need some fluff.
I'm going to miss your birthday, huh?
You are.
Oh,
yes.
Dang it.
My birthday.
All right. I'll wish you happy tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you, G.
See ya.
Bye.
G and Ursula, 9 to noon here on
Wait, I
KIRO
didn't get
Newsradio.
kicked out.
Get out.
Whoa.
Wow. Sully.
I love you. You may be excused.
Sully has traffic.
And we have finally now cleared all lanes of eastbound I-90 right there at T-Mobile Park, where Edgar Martinez becomes I-90 after we had that tipped-over semi. So that's certainly positive. That's our one last issue on the board. The rest of the map looks relatively normal. We have about a 45-minute trip from Federal Way to Seattle. Valley Freeway's only 40. Rented to Bellevue still up at 40 minutes. We have heavy brake lights through the S-curves and then also over the top of I-90. Lake bridges, though, are still in very good shape. 405, though, continues to struggle. In fact, we've actually added some time to our drive as we're struggling through Totem Lake now as well. You're going to need about an hour from Linwood and an hour and 20 all the way to Bellevue from on the I-5 and the 405 corridor. From Everett to Seattle, we're back under an hour with 40 of those minutes from Linwood. 16 and 18 continue to be in very good shape, and Olympia to Tacoma has no problems. This report brought to you by the KIRO Newsradio App. Text app to 888-973-5476. Download the KIRO Newsradio App. Listen to your favorite shows. Get the latest news and updates right to your phone.
For most of us, just a dry day today with some sunshine by afternoon, 53. A few sprinkles tomorrow, a possibility, but then sunshine Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Right now in Seattle, it's cloudy and 44.
G and Ursula, our next mayor, Katie Wilson, says Sound Transit could break ground on light rail to West Seattle a year ahead of schedule. That's going to happen, right, Sully?
When I just talked to Sound Transit, they're like,
that's coming up on G and Ursula.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO News Radio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO News Radio app. KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
How does your roof look after this winter? Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Spring into action today. Save $3,000 on a new roof, siding, deck, or windows. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. Like a warm knife through firm butter. Going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
So how's your business navigating so far this year? Have you thought about your finances and how they should change? Well, my friends at WaFd Bank can help. Right, Brad?
Right, Dave. Set your financial goals and stick to them with free checking. No minimum balances or monthly maintenance fees to worry about. You also get spending tools to help you stay on top of your budget. Not only is WaFd Bank a best bank, we have more than 200 branches to serve you across 9 western states.
And tell us about this voice-activated banking I've been hearing about.
You can check your balance and make transfers between your WaFd accounts when your hands are full. You'll also have access to free tools like person-to-person payments with Zelle, mobile check deposit, intuitive new debit card management tools to turn your card on and off, set spending notifications, and when those unfortunate times happen, submit fraud disputes right inside the WaFd mobile app.
What I really like, too, is that you can choose from some great-looking debit cards to spend in style, including Seattle Kraken and Seattle Seawolves cards. So visit wafedbank.com to open your account today. Non-sufficient funds charges may apply. Member FDIC.
Remember that time we were driving through France and for some reason we didn't have GPS?
Oh, for some reason? That reason would be that you didn't plug your phone in because you didn't have a charger.
Yeah, because I let you borrow my phone so you could call your mother, and you're on the phone for like 30 minutes telling her where we are. But that aside, we didn't know where we were going. We did fight a little bit because we didn't know where we were going. I think that Longevity Medical Clinic is like the GPS for us. They tell us which turns to make. They tell us which directions to go, right?
They do. And now I feel like the two of us together have a clear path and we have more control over our own health care.
Right, exactly. So you don't have to get out of the car and try to find information somewhere. It's all right there. As you're aging, all the little sort of turns you have to make in order to be able to have lots of energy and to enjoy your life. So for as far